The campus of Notre Dame on the first weekend of fall. The colors of autumn yet to appear, but the air heavy with the promise of imminent arrival. So too for the Irish football team. The uncertainty of late summer, notably an opening game loss to BYU, has given way to optimism after consecutive victories over Michigan and Michigan State. Will the arrival of fall fill the promise of glory like the filling of the stadium on game day? Today, the Irish hope to continue their momentum against an opponent from the Pac-10, the University of Washington. And indeed, the stadium has filled up as the Irish make their appearance before the 175th consecutive sellout at Notre Dame Stadium. And that was a few moments ago as the Irish made their entrance before the sellout crowd here at Notre Dame Stadium. And right now, Lewis Johnson on the sideline with Irish head coach Tyrone Willingham.
Okay, Tom, thanks a lot. Well, Coach, you have to hold out your senior running back, Ryan Grant, and insert the freshman, Darius Walker. How does that change your offensive attack or the offensive scheme today?
Well, we've been very fortunate that the two of them have provided a nice 1-2 punch for us. So we're going to have to look elsewhere to find that other punch for us, which changes possibly a little bit of our inside running game and may force us a little bit more to the perimeter.
Now, your defense has played lights out so far this season, but what kind of a challenge does this Washington offense pose to them?
Well, first of all, it is a big, very physical offensive team with two great backs, so we're going to be challenged to stop their run game.
All right, good luck, Coach. Tom?
All right, as Keith Gilbertson over on the Washington sideline in his second season as the head coach of the Huskies looks on. It is a very pleasant afternoon, 68 degrees and a lot of sunshine here at Notre Dame Stadium. Joya will set the kickoff and will for Notre Dame, who won the toss and deferred to the second half. This is the dangerous Charles Frederick from the 2-yard line. And Frederick bouncing off tacklers. Takes it all the way out to the 26-yard line. Tough return by Charles Frederick, the senior from Lake Worth, Florida, with John Carlson making the special teams tackle for Notre Dame. The Irish have never lost to Washington. The last meeting, a blowout victory for the Irish here in 1996 as Notre Dame beat the Huskies easily.
But interesting, Tyrone Willingham has not beaten the Huskies when it was out at Stanford, 0-5 against the Huskies.
And there's Casey Paws. Feast of famine for him, as you see.
Very efficient game last week against UCLA. And what they really need is a complete game from their offense. Even the first game they played well defensively. Last week they played well offensively, but they need both facets and their special teams to play well today to beat the Irish.
Some balance between offense and defense, what the Huskies coaches are seeking as they make this trip into Notre Dame, looking for their first ever victory against the Irish. They start with two tight ends, Lyon and Crutchley. In the I formation, Kenny James, the tailback. And James gets the call on first down and is stopped at the line of scrimmage by the center of the Notre Dame defense, led by Greg Pauley, with Curry and Hoyt getting a piece too. Let's take a look at our starting lineups now, brought to you by Adidas. Washington Husky offensive unit, Khalif Barnes starting his 40th straight game. His battle today with Justin Tuck will be one we'll keep our eye on. Tuiasa Sopo, James Williams, the dangerous Frederick, and John Lyon, the tight end.
Empty backfield here. Usually a quick throw.
5 wide receivers on 2nd and 10. And it's dropped. Paws got it on the money to Anthony Russo, who couldn't hold on. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Starting lineup for the Irish up front with Tuck, Pauley, Landry, and Budensack. Hoyt, Goolsby, the leading tackler, and Curry. And in the secondary, Burrell Zibikowski, who was the hero of last week's win over Michigan State, Ellick, and Jackson.
You know, Tom, it's a defense that's developing kind of an edginess about them, a swagger, and brought on a lot, I think, by the play of the defensive backfield.
James, the lone setback. 3rd and long. Pause. In the pocket. Puts it incomplete, a little high for Charles Frederick, his intended receiver. So it's 3 and out for the Huskies.
There's Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator, allowing just 2.4 yards a rush and forcing almost 4 turnovers a game. Those are amazing numbers. But he was saying to us yesterday, you get what you practice. And they really practice every single day tackling and forcing turnovers. And they're good tacklers and forced 11 turnovers this year.
Sean Douglas in punt formation. Carlyle Holiday deep for Notre Dame. Douglas averaging only 33 yards a boot. Holiday fumbles, but gets it back. For the of a line drive kick that only covered 37 yards. Holiday fumbles it, but manages to recover, and the Irish retain possession. And Brady Quinn will make his first appearance. And look at the way the rushing game is turned around for the Irish.
And Tom, I think if you can run the ball like the Irish have against Michigan and Michigan State, you have a chance of being and developing into a really good football team. Because you can get balance. You don't have to throw the ball 50 times a game. So they want to come out and have a 200-yard rushing game today. Kind of follow up the last 2 weeks.
Darius Walker is the setback, getting the start. Fake it to him. And on the end around, it's Matt Shelton. And Shelton stopped for a loss of 1. So Washington ready for the deception on first down as Evan Benjamin made a heads-up play for the Huskies. Matt Shelton getting the start today in the absence of the injured Maurice Stovall. There's a look at Brady Quinn, 215 yards, a touchdown, and 1 picked off.
Kind of liked the call, didn't you?
Sure.
I mean, didn't gain any yards, but
I mean, everyone expected them to line up and try to power it against a team that had trouble stopping the run against UCLA. As you see our Notre Dame Adidas starting lineups. Short drop. Quinn rifles it complete. Jeff Samarza finally caught from behind at the 40-yard line by Batchin Goldson of Washington. A big gain on the first pass attempt by Notre Dame, 22 yards.
You know, you talk in the West Coast offense, you get tired of using that phrase now, but ball placement, if you can get the ball out in front of receivers so they aren't adjusting to the ball, as Brady Quinn did right there, you turn a 3 or 4 yard pass into a 12-yard gain. So perfect ball placement by Brady Quinn allows Samarza to pick up about 8 yards after the catch.
His 5th catch of the season, and Notre Dame with a first down at the Washington 40 on their opening drive of the game. Walker, his first carry, nets him only a couple of yards, maybe 3. We check our Adidas starting lineups for the Washington Huskies on defense. Oh boy, Milstein. White Frisbee gets the start at Allah up front for Washington. Bobendon leads the Pac-10 in tackles with White and Benjamin at the linebackers. Goldson, Wallace, Johnson, and Cunningham in the secondary.
Bobendon also leads the Pac-10 in wisdom teeth removed early in the season.
Ouch.
Yeah, he had him out a couple of weeks ago.
Play action fake. Brady Quinn throws it too high for Jerome Collins. One of the 6 tight ends that the Irish play.
Well, Tom, you mentioned how Washington struggled a lot stopping the run last week against UCLA. 424 yards. Maurice Drew of UCLA ran for 322 yards and 5 touchdowns. Phil Snow there, the defensive coordinator, says, hey, we have got to cover our gaps and be a lot more disciplined on defense.
3rd down and 8, and Marcus Wilson in the backfield for Walker. He's a better pass protector. The freshman has yet to pick up all the protection schemes. Now they go to the shotgun, and they shift into it with 5 wide receivers.
He wasn't offsides.
And no whistle, so
he got back.
And then Quinn had a free play and threw it behind Marcus Wilson.
Yeah,
Hopeboy just came offside and sort of stopped.
He should just jump right back. I mean, there wasn't a penalty, no flag. He got back before the ball was snapped.
No contact made, and so no flag. And he just sort of stopped, and Notre Dame also hesitated. If they had snapped the ball, then they would have had the offside.
Absolutely, and a free down. And I think Brady Quinn maybe felt that he had a free down.
Right. DJ Fitzpatrick, averaging 40.5 yards a punt, will kick it to Charles Frederick. Low line drive pooch punt, trying to dead it. Frederick calls for a fair catch and takes it at the 8. Punt covered 31 yards as they pin the Huskies deep. So 1 possession each, no score from Notre Dame. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Hall's Fruit Breezers. When screaming fans need cool, soothing relief from a dry, scratchy throat, they reach for a Hall's Fruit Breezers. Hall's Fruit Breezers treat your throat. By the Document Company, Xerox, helping your business grow in unexpected ways. By the U.S. Postal Service. With more new ways to use us than ever before, the U.S. Postal Service is working for you. And by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, Notre Dame Stadium. Brady Quinn on the phone to his offensive coordinator, Bill Dietrich. After 3 quarters, 4 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 a less than sparkling start. They did pick up one long play, a 22-yard pass, and a fumble. Tuiasosopo fumbled the ball, and as they unstack them, it looks like Toledo was able to recover the fumble for Washington. One of the tight ends, Joe Toledo, who made a comeback from injuries to get the start against UCLA last week.
I saw Brady Quinn on the phone. When was the last time you saw a teenager that wasn't on a cell phone? Here comes the ball popping out. And again, you can't bear say we force fumbles and we generally recover them. We want 3 or 4 blue jerseys around to not only cause them, but recover them. Here's one of those tipped balls.
Yeah. And that has been an ongoing problem for Casey Paws.
Yeah, he had 3 balls tipped in the first game, and Derek Landry, number 66, if he tipped that ball, that would be his 4th tip of the year. And I think it's one of those talents that some nose tackles have, some don't. Right down here is Derek Landry. And you oftentimes as a nose tackle, you get double teamed. You can't get there, but if you get a hand up, actually it wasn't he, I think it was Buddensack. But Landry and Buddensack both getting their hands up and knocking it down.
Well, we spoke to Kyle Buddensack about that very thing yesterday, and he said, well, I hadn't really noticed that Paws has trouble with that. Maybe I'll take it to heart. He did.
Well, the Washington coaches have talked about that problem.
There's a flag down. That'll be our first penalty of the game as Russo was hit by Goolsby.
Casey Paws. Excuse me, Tom.
Could be an interference call. Let's see.
Casey Paws, 6'5", though, with kind of a low release, and that's why he's getting a bunch of balls tipped. It'll be against the Irish.
Pac-10 officiating crew headed by...
Pass interference on the defense, number 41, automatic first down, spot of the foul.
Mike Goolsby was indeed the guilty party on the penalty.
He's number 41. Right there in the middle of the screen is Goolsby. Gets there. Yeah, good call. Easy call. And there's a really good matchup you're going to see. Khalif Barnes right over here. And Justin Tuck all day long.
Jay Strikers is the referee from the Pac-10 for today's game. Here's a handoff to James. Excuse me, it's Sims. James Sims who has come in. And they're scrambling around like he might have lost the football as well. Turnovers, of course, were a big problem against Fresno State.
It wasn't just the turnovers. They had 3 turnovers returned for touchdowns against Fresno State. 21 points they gave up on touchdowns.
There was no fumble that time, but Brandon Hoyt made the tackle for Notre Dame.
Khalif Barnes, number 65, the weak side tackle. They flipped their tackles for Washington. Is Kent Bears told us yesterday, the best offensive lineman they've seen this year.
Back in the I formation, James the tailback. Here's the option. Pitch to James, using Tuiasosopo's block, but can't turn the corner as he's knocked out of bounds by Dwight Ellick. At NBCSports.com, click on a special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central, for Pat's look at the improving Irish offense, and bruising sometimes, and the star potential of freshman running back Darius Walker. Plus, get the complete postgame coverage as well. It's at NBCSports.com.
Well, only, Darius Walker we've already talked about, but there's another freshman who may play for Notre Dame on kick returns today named Justin Hoskins, who they think has a big upside.
They think he has a very bright future indeed from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Third down play. Pause. Shoots it right over the head of Corey Williams. Incomplete, and another 4th down.
Yeah, those kind of miscommunicated plays between receiver and quarterback really surprise me. I mean, they're easy calls. If you have a slant generally, and if you have bump and run coverage, you run a fade. And I think Paul saw one thing, the wide receiver saw the other, and that shouldn't be happening in the 3rd game of the season.
Douglas with his second punt. Carlyle Holiday. It's a short punt. Holiday on the bounce. And Holiday found a little seam and took it back into Washington territory to the 44-yard line. Punt covered 35 yards, including the bounce, and then 15 on the return by Carlyle Holiday. Finally stopped by Derek Johnson on special teams. Toss on the phone. Washington offense not doing anything early. Freezers, a landmark on the Notre Dame campus. The Grotto, popular spot on game day and all game weekend, as a matter of fact. And a full house. Notre Dame Stadium sold out the 175th consecutive time. Scoreless game. Notre Dame with its second possession begins in Husky territory. Walker hit behind the line, manages to keep his balance and fall forward for a gain of 3.
A nice play by Ty Eriks, the defensive end for Washington, number 22, a guy that's kind of played a bunch of different positions for the Huskies over his 3 years there. He's played some tailbacks, some fullbacks, some safety, some outside linebacker, now playing defensive end. Made a nice initial hit on Darius Walker there.
Eriks, the junior from Seattle. Lobadan got credit for the tackle, as he does for most tackles. Came in with 31, which is tops in the Pac-10 over 2 games. Quinn pumps once, goes the other way, and finds McKnight wide open. Falls out of bounds.
Tom, your commentary there is telling, I think. Brady Quinn looked one way and came the other. I think one of the things when you talk to defensive coordinators around that they play is they feel like he has been locking in on guys. It's one of the few times he looked left, nothing there, and the good protection allowed him to come back to the other side. So the offensive line really was responsible for that completion. But Brady Quinn, you see the maturation of Brady Quinn. Thrown to 11 different receivers now this year, and 3 different players have caught touchdowns from him, so he is a work in progress. And sometimes you forget, you know, he's 19 years old and still has started his 13th Division I game at 19.
That's what the coaches say sometimes. They forget he's just a sophomore. Marcus Wilson to the outside, turns the corner, and gets a gain of 8 on first down. And Lobadan again with a tackle for Washington.
Well, Tyrone Willingham said right before the game to Lewis Johnson that not having Ryan Grant to pound it in there, maybe they were going to have a few more perimeter plays. And you saw Marcus Wilson with a nice run outside. And when you don't get touched for 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, your tight ends and tackles are blocking pretty well.
The Irish had 2 tight ends in that formation, Freeman and Fasano, as Ryan Grant in uniform looks on.
That guy's a heck of a leader of this team, even when he's not playing.
He's sort of taken Darius Walker, the freshman, under his wing, trying to teach him the ropes. Irish send McKnight in motion, then hand it to Wilson. Wilson picks his way forward, close to a first down. We go down to Lewis Johnson.
Well, Tom, you were talking about Ryan Grant. You know, he's been rehabbing that right hamstring 5 to 6 times a day. High stimulation, stretching, trying to get it back to 100%. He told me that he felt his best last week against Michigan State, where he had 66 yards on 11 carries and a touchdown. But he could cut inside the tackles and do those types of things. But it was when he broke into the secondary, he just couldn't get to that next gear to really pull away from people. Grant told me that as a senior, he feels so comfortable now. The game has slowed down, but he's so frustrated because that right leg is holding him up. Tom?
Lewis Grant, you'll remember, gained 1,085 yards in 2002, and then last year had to take a backseat to Julius Jones. Here's wide open Shelton for a touchdown. Matt Shelton continues his hot play. That's 3 touchdown receptions in the last 2 games for Shelton, who was absolutely wide open for the 24-yard strike.
And Tom, you know, that was supposed to be a screen to Raymond McKnight. The screen that he ran for a touchdown in the first game against BYU. But again, great read by Brady Quinn. The screen is taken away. So he was trying to get there, and then boom, the pump fake, and then the deep ball to Matt Shelton. And that's a nice change of pace off that screen, which they've run successfully 3 or 4 times already this season.
Swinging gate formation. They line up for the point after with DJ Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick boots it through, and the Irish getting it to Matt Shelton, the senior from Collierville, Tennessee. He's been the hot receiver the last 2 games for the Irish. Quinn lays it up there, and Shelton all by himself waltzes into the end zone for the first score of the game. Quinn applauds the pass to Shelton. And the Irish break on top of the Washington Huskies. Thanks to Brady Quinn finding Matt Shelton for the touch. It's 7-0 Irish.
First touchdown of the game. This is McKnight down here. They've run this little screen pass very successfully this year. This is Shelton, who's going to fake a block here and then run right by him. Now, you notice, watch the offensive lineman. This is not a screen because they're all right here, right? Here's the fake block, and then he goes by him. So a change of pace. Bill Dietrich, the offensive coordinator, had known, hey, people jump in that screen. That was a screen they ran for a 54-yard touchdown against BYU. So a great adjustment, change of pace, and a good call by Bill Dietrich.
And that snaps a string of 4 straight games with the opponent scoring first. In fact, Notre Dame scores first for the first time since November 29th, 2003 against Stanford.
Short kick.
Joya kicks it short, taken by Frederick. And Frederick puts on a couple of moves. Joya can't make the play. Finally nudged out of bounds across the 30-yard line. Tomorrow on NBC Premiere Sunday, it's the season premiere of American Dreams with R&B star Brandy as Gladys Knight. The revolution is just beginning on American Dreams, part of NBC Premiere Sunday at 8/7 Central. That's tomorrow here on NBC. What about Matt Shelton becoming the big play receiver for the Irish? Matt, with 5 receptions this season and 3 of them for touchdowns, in his career 9 catches, 4 TDs.
I would throw him the ball.
Yeah, well,
that's good coaching, right? We had 3 last week for 123 yards.
Huskies try to answer with a ground game of their own as Williams takes the pass from pause. Gave about 7 yards on first down, and Justin Tuck downfield to make the tackle. Look at that, it's pretty amazing. 9 receptions in his career, and 4 of them have been for scores. And the average, 32 yards a catch.
And that was a well-designed play, the last one we just saw by Bill Dietrich. And you know, most of his plays, he is running those streak routes or post routes. Very, very fast receiver. Probably their fastest receiver, although some others suggest he's not. But Matt Shelton is the fastest receiver and their best deep threat, as you see by those numbers.
Second down, fake, and a roll from pause. Looking downfield, throws it complete. Nice catch made by Corey Williams. The ball a little behind him, but Williams able to make the catch. Second straight reception for the sophomore from Las Vegas, who came in with 5 receptions, second on the Husky team. That's a gain of 20 and a first down.
Yeah, he had all 5 of those last week against UCLA, shut out in the first game. And what Washington needs to do is develop another receiver. You know, Charles Frederick is their star, and Corey Williams needs to step up to be that second receiver. Began to do that last week against UCLA, and that was a terrific catch on the crossing route.
Into Irish territory at the 43, first down Huskies. Pause with a handoff to Sims. Flag is down as Sims is thrown back after a yard. Justin Tuck down at the bottom of the stack along with Corey Mays, who was there too. And of course, Mike Goolsby seems to always be around it.
You know, there's a lot of skeptics about intercollegiate sports, but if you like what intercollegiate sports can do, James Sims is kind of an interesting guy. I think came as a 4.0 student.
Holding on the offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty, previous spot, still first down.
He was the student body president, academic All-American. Started as a comparative literature major, now a cinema major. Really a complete guy, really taking advantage of the whole university.
Valley High School, Las Vegas, was also the second best triple jumper in the United States as a high school athlete.
Now Charles Frederick, right? This is the guy that's in the slot. Remember, he has to touch the ball, we said, 10 to 15 times.
Screen pass set up. Russo. And Russo almost got back the yardage from the penalty. Nice first and 20, and Russo finally stopped by Quentin Burrell.
And what a nice block by Charles Frederick. I mean, to me, there's an anomaly in football. Oftentimes, star wide receivers are selfish. They don't get elected captain. This is a guy that never seems to talk about himself and was elected captain. He's the guy who's number 10 who's going to throw the block right there.
Oh, yeah.
Allows Russo to get a few more extra yards.
Took out Preston Jackson.
All the offensive linemen voted for him to be a captain.
They call him E.T. He was a fan of E.T., the movie. He saw it over and over and over, had all the merchandise, and always has that trademark big smile. Pause to Russo, holds on despite the tough hit. Or did he? No, he did not. It'll be called an incomplete pass. Quentin Burrell, when it looked like Russo had it safely, Burrell knocked it loose. Pass incomplete.
Good throw there by Casey Pause. And Anthony Russo, former high school running back, they like to get him the ball in situations like this where he can run after the catch. But Quentin Burrell, big hit, knocks it out of his arms.
It brings up a 3rd and 13 for the Huskies. Numbers on Casey. Pause in the pocket, rifles it too hard. Shackelford unable to hold it, and Pause had too much on that one. It looks like there was a seam to get the ball to Shackelford, but he could not hold on.
Justin Tuck, the outstanding pass rusher for Notre Dame, is in for a battle today against Barnes. Khalif Barnes, number 65. And Khalif Barnes just handles Justin Tuck that time. That's something we're going to be watching all game. You know, they could be facing one another just about every single pass play.
Barnes, 6'5", 310, a senior from Spring Valley, California, with NFL potential.
Big athlete.
And looking for a marquee day against Notre Dame with all the national attention to enhance his NFL credentials. Tremendous punt that time by Douglas. Will be down deep in Irish territory. Douglas, 44 yards, and he had enough on it to stop it inside the 5, and Matt Fontaine downed it there. They'll spot it at the Irish 1-yard line. Notre Dame backed up when we returned, but they lead the Huskies 7-0. Washington 7-0, just under 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter. And Notre Dame backed up to its 1-yard line for this drive. Brady Quinn has a touchdown pass to Matt Shelton. He's hit 3 of his first 5 attempts.
And we talked to Brady yesterday. You know, we're very happy about those 2 wins back-to-back. He said, you know, we just have to keep it going. We haven't played our best football by a long shot. Just need to keep improving.
Powers Neal, the fullback. Darius Walker, the tailback, in the eye. Walker behind the block from Powers Neal. Edges out past the 5-yard line. Well, ground was broken May 5th, 2004 for the Guglielmino Athletics Complex, a state-of-the-art addition to the Notre Dame Athletic Center. 95,000 square feet. It'll house the football program's locker rooms, offices, and meeting rooms, as well as provide Notre Dame's 800 student athletes with enhanced space for training, sports medicine, strength and conditioning programs, and equipment. It's due to be completed for the 2005 fall athletic season. And of course, these new facilities all over college athletics. The University of Washington, as we visited their campus in Seattle, talking about them as well.
As you watch Darius Walker kind of plunge up the middle a few times, one of the things that strikes me about him, he's not just a scat back type. You know, he scored a couple of touchdowns on the outside the perimeter against Michigan, but he's not afraid to take it up in there. He gets some tough yards. He's pretty strong. There's his father, Jimmy, former defensive tackle.
For Lou Holtz at Arkansas.
He's a defensive tackle. He had 2 sons who were tailbacks.
And the Walker family giving their young son Darius all kinds of support. Moving from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Handoff to Walker, and he's hit hard at the line of scrimmage. Wow, that was a stout defensive stand. Evan Benjamin supplied the big hit on Walker that time.
Got a lot of confidence in Darius Walker to give him the ball on 3rd and 5. And again, a very good defensive showing by the white-shirted Washington Huskies inside Lobendon and Evan Benjamin. Evan Benjamin, number 27 for the Huskies. 2 interceptions on the year thus far.
Charles Frederick is the deep man for the Huskies.
Block last week.
Fitzpatrick to Frederick, who says stay away from it, and it takes a good Notre Dame bounce.
He really wanted to pick that one up. See that? He really wanted to pick that up.
54 yards for Fitzpatrick and no return, but still good field position for the Huskies. Next Sunday, 1:30 Eastern, the chase is on at Talladega. Junior's been dominant on the trioval with 4 wins, but last time out, Jeff Gordon beat him with 6 laps to go. Nextel Cup Racing from Talladega next Sunday, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, beginning with the Discover Card Countdown to Green, only on NBC. And do you like the new sort of playoff format for the Nextel Cup NASCAR racing this year?
Listen, I don't even know where my carburetor is. I can't find
your
my
car's carburetor, I hope you mean.
Tipped again.
Another tip ball nearly intercepted.
You know, we talked to the coaches about his throwing motion. They know, hey, they're living with it. They just say, hey, he needs to find some windows to be able to get the ball to his receivers, even though he is 6'5". And I think he has to kind of shuffle his feet to find those windows. Buttonsack, number 92. Does he get another tip?
It'll be a second.
Yeah, it is.
Got a piece of it, yeah.
It's funny. I mean, yesterday, as you mentioned, we were talking to Kyle Buttonsack and said, hey, are you going to get your hands up a lot because he gets a lot of passes tipped? He says, does he really have a low release?
And then we talked to Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator, and we talked about it all week. Pause, a short drop, another tip.
Buttonsack again. That's 3. That's 3 for Buttonsack. I tell you, Kent Baer, I bet you got to him again before this game. Said, get those hands up. 3 tip passes in the first half by Kyle Buttonsack.
And, you know, a lot of it, even though Pause is 6'5", the way he brings the ball down and throws it sort of three-quarter, almost sidearm, it's like he's a 6-footer instead of 6'5".
Indeed.
So 3rd down and 10 for the Huskies. 5 wide receivers, empty backfield. Pause under center, retreats. Good protection, finds his man, but short of the first down. Shackelford caught it, but 2 yards short of the first down marker. Wow.
We've talked about Justin Tuck and Khalif Barnes, that matchup, and what a pass rusher Justin Tuck is. And he has a bunch of different moves. This one is a little inside spin. Did not fool Khalif Barnes, who handled it pretty well, but Justin Tuck has got a lot more to show him as this game wears on. 4 or 5 different pass rushes does Tuck have, and Khalif Barnes has been excellent. You see the speed rush, the spin, the bull rush, and then the counter lead. That was the second one, the spin.
Douglas fields an off-center snap, and here's Holiday. Didn't call a fair catch and stopped after he got a couple of yards. But what about Sonny Shackelford of Washington, who made a nice reception but was a yard short of the first down sticks? That's one of your pet peeves, I believe.
I really hate that. On 3rd and 8, run a 7-yard route.
So the Huskies have to give it up. Notre Dame gets it back. 4 minutes to go in the quarter. And Notre Dame, thanks to a Quinn to Shelton touchdown pass, has a 7-0 lead on the Washington Huskies.
There's a guy that's very familiar with Washington football, not only his head coach, but Keith Gilbertson grew up just 32 miles from the stadium.
His 3rd different stint at the campus in Seattle. Josh Schmidt has about 12 yards and an Irish first down. Bolts and knocks him out of bounds.
Former walk-on, now a scholarship player, but remember, Tom, we've talked about ball placement just a moment ago. If this isn't thrown right out in front of him, he has to stop, slow down, turn around, he gets tackled. But perfect ball placement that time again by Brady Quinn. Allowed him to catch it, keep running, and pick up a first down.
So on first down, the Irish come with 2 tight ends in this formation, Freeman and Fasano. Walker is the tailback and Schmidt the fullback. Walker hit behind the line and dropped. Hopoy made a tremendous defensive play with penetration deep into the Irish backfield to stop Walker for a loss.
Hopoy is a guy that creates a lot of penetration. 11 career sacks. Played real well in their opening loss against Fresno State with a sack and 3 tackles for losses. With plays like this, just kind of fights through some traffic. Strong hands. Gets the running back to fall down after a little arm tackle by Hopoy.
Walker getting the start today. 6 carries, only 3 yards.
We're hoping to build on the running game they've been so successful the past 2 weeks.
2nd and 17. Quinn has Holiday and Carlyle Holiday.
First reception.
With his first reception of the season. He's been used to return punts and kickoffs. But Cunningham stops him after a nice gain on the play.
And the student section in particular, giving him some applause, because this is a guy that has been a great leader in a lot of ways. I mean, took a lot of criticism as a quarterback, but never complained, hung in there, did everything he could to help his team. Now he's returning punts and catching passes. And Tom, I still think Carlyle Holiday has a chance of having a big career at Notre Dame. With plays like that, you're going to see him, I think, throw the ball at some point this year for a touchdown.
He's in the slot, bottom of the screen on 3rd and 3. Handed to Walker. Walker hit. Manages to fall forward, and it looks like he does pick up the first down, despite the fact he was hit a yard short. C.J. Wallace. And Jimmy Walker applauds his son's first down run.
You mentioned his whole family from Lawrenceville, Georgia, have moved here to South Bend during the football season to give him some support.
And they come to practice every day.
We asked Tyrone about that yesterday. He said, we love seeing them out practice as long as they don't coach. They're always welcome. And I think families really appreciate that.
And Coach Willingham saying it's been a real positive. Washington shows blitz on first down. Quinn throws it complete. Pass caught by Matt Shelton. And Shelton has 12 yards and another first down. Well below his 32-yard-to-catch average, however.
Yeah, he's probably a little disappointed now. It's kind of fun to see new guys each year in college football emerge. Guys that you didn't expect would. And I think Matt Shelton is in that category. Kind of a small, limited career thus far, but really been their big-time deep threat this season.
In 2001, he didn't play. In 2002, he played in 10 games, caught 1 pass. Last year, 12 games, he caught 3 passes for 80 yards and a touchdown, and now emerging as a real deep threat and go-to guy for the Irish. Here's Walker. Walker uses his seam to get to the outside. Good gain on first down for the freshman, starting to find his stride now after being bottled up by the Washington defense early. Scott White, C.J. Wallace combined for the hit.
I'll tell you, these Notre Dame tight ends block very well. Anthony Fasano on that one. 8 rushes to 13 yards, but I think he's one of those guys you keep feeding him, you know, one of those guys that gets stronger and stronger, and he's going to have one of those long runs if you keep giving him enough chances, if you're patient enough with the running game, which is really hard to be patient.
Less than 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Irish driving at the 37. And the pass intended for McKnight. Short hops him. So it'll be 3rd down coming up for Notre Dame. This is the new Tyrone Willingham that we're seeing in action. Much more animated, the last few weeks.
And yesterday we spoke to them very, very upbeat, optimistic, animated even in our meetings. And we talked to a couple of players. They seem to like that in Tyrone Willingham.
3rd down. Quinn, slant, caught by Samarza. And it will be an Irish first down, caught it in front of Sam Cunningham.
That's the second slant pass that Jeff Samarza has caught today. This is a guy who's been a busy two-way sport career at Notre Dame, pitches for the baseball team, and as you see, pretty good wide receiver here as well. In fact, I think he went 5-3 as a pitcher last year.
Right. Was a center fielder, too, in his high school days. Valparaiso High School, All-American prepster. Marcus Wilson at running back. Bounced off the first hit, but then taken down after a gain of 1.
Boy, that hole closed very quickly by C.J. Wallace, number 1. Man, there was an opening, there was a hole there, and all of a sudden, big old number 1, C.J. Wallace, got his rather large body right in the middle of that hole.
Wallace, a sophomore from Sacramento, California, 6 foot, 205 pounds. Strong safety. 2nd and long. Quinn's hitting at a 70% clip. On the season, he's hit about 52%. Pump once, go deep for the end zone and way over the head of Samarza, the intended receiver, and that did not please his coach. Matt Fontaine was running with Samarza.
I'll tell you what, though, the 70% completion percentage is fantastic. And it's one of the things last year, Brady Quinn was under 50%. In this style of offense, you should be, I think, at least at 55, maybe 60%. Matter of fact, Tom, there are 5 NFL quarterbacks who are completing at 70% or better against really good defense. So in this style of offense, you should have a very high completion percentage.
Brady looking at his wristband to make the call of the play in the huddle. 3rd down. Play clock ticking to 2, and he got it off. Quinn retreats, looking for the end zone. Fires it. Shelton. Touchdown! Shelton for the 2nd time today. That one 27 yards, and Fitzpatrick for the extra point. And dead center. DJ Fitzpatrick.
A growing confidence in this Irish offensive team. The defense already has a swagger, but Anthony Fasano, number 88, the tight end, who just sits next to Brady Quinn, he is the guy, I believe he's right in here, but you're going to watch him, and he's the one that allows Brady Quinn, there's a blitzing safety, C.J. Wallace, and if Anthony Fasano doesn't step in there and block him and give him a chance to get this ball downfield, no touchdown.
A nice catch by Shelton as Fasano lined up sort of as an H-back, back, makes the block, and look at Shelton over the shoulder grab. His third catch of the game, and 2 of them for touchdowns.
Well, he's got some strong hands. But I promise you, when the team watches the tape tomorrow together, the coaches will say, wonderful, wonderful catch, good throw, Brady. But hey, Anthony Fasano, you set it all up. This kid is absolutely emerging. Now he's filling in for Maurice Stovall, who is injured. But, you know, he's absolutely deserves a lot more playing time.
Just 20 seconds left in the quarter as Joya kicks off. And this will be Charles Frederick. Nowhere to go. And Frederick thrown down at the 17-yard line. John Carlson, one of the tight ends, down on special teams, made a...
Yeah, one of 6 tight ends.
Yeah, made a nice tackle of Frederick to prevent any further damage. And the clock shows 14 seconds left in the quarter.
And, you know, Washington, this is, I think, a very, very important drive. They need to keep this game close because they're not going to win it throwing it every down. They need Kenny James, their talented tailback, to have a close game that he can potentially win in the 4th quarter.
And off to James. Fumble.
A lot of blue jerseys around it.
It is Notre Dame ball. Trevor Laws in the center of that Notre Dame defense. And this is what Coach Gilbertson and the Huskies could not afford. Already trailing by 14. To turn the ball over with 3 seconds to go in the quarter.
You know, Kent Bear said something interesting to us yesterday, the defensive coordinator from Notre Dame. He said, you know, we work on stripping the ball every single day, but that's only half the job. We want blue jerseys around the ball to make the recovery. 2 years ago, they caused 13 fumbles and recovered every single one of them, all 13.
And as Coach Gilbertson looks on, Trevor Laws, the sophomore from Burnsville, Minnesota, got his hands in there and ripped it free, and the Irish have the turnover. Barring a penalty, final play of the quarter. They're in the eye from the 18 of Washington. Fake to Walker. Quinn still has it. Man wide open. Pass on its way. Touchdown, Fasano. Swinging gate on the extra point. They got it down to a science with 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, a quarter that the Irish have traditionally struggled in the past couple of years.
It's only fair that Anthony Fasano gets a chance to get in the end zone. Watch him right here. Kind of just sneaks his way through traffic. He did a crossing route for the wide receiver. Well-designed play. Wide open Anthony Fasano. Sometimes those are the toughest balls to throw when you have a receiver wide open. But Fasano set up the touchdown a moment ago with a big block. They throw him a bone, get him in the end zone. The Irish go up by 3 touchdowns.
And Quinn with a nice fake to Walker to sell it. And so Notre Dame with 2 touchdowns in the last 20 seconds. We'll be back to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local NBC station.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
To you by Sirius Satellite Radio. Listen to the NFL every week only on Sirius Satellite Radio. By Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Coca-Cola, let's make it real. And by Konica Minolta, makers of BizHub. It's the hub of your business. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, and Lewis Johnson. Jim Bell's our producer. John Gonzalez, our director. Jim Bell returning to the NBC Olympic unit to prepare for Torino, Italy, which will be here before we know it, just a year and a half away. Anastasio and the freshman Justin Hoskins are deep to receive the kick for Notre Dame. Hoskins' first action. And the kick by Sean Douglas goes out of bounds.
Well, I tell you, the coaches are just raving about Justin Hoskins. And there's a guy that they're going to let play some special teams, and then they're going to ease him into the running back play. But the play he had this past week was remarkable.
Both Bill Diedrich and Tyrone Willingham said he made a play in practice that they've never seen before. There's the penalty against Washington as the kick went out of bounds. So they'd never seen a man hurdle. Dwight Ellick, I think, was the man that Hoskins hurdled while standing straight up. So they've seen a man hurdle another one that was bent over, but not to hurdle him while the defender was standing up. And in fact, it was so amazing they had to go back and see it on tape, the practices, to see it on tape to confirm it.
And Tyrone, immediately after that, Tyrone pulled him over. They said, come on here, son. We're going to have you returning kicks.
Come with me.
Cutting ticks next week. And what they're hoping is that he develops much like Darius Walker did as a return guy, and then really give him a chance to touch the ball as a running back perhaps as early as next week.
Said he just wasn't ready before, and now
there are 2 fouls on the play. Encroachment on the kicking team. That penalty is declined. Also, free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down and 10.
Just kind of finishing the story about Justin Hoskins. As he jumped over Ellen, he never missed a stride. He just kind of kept going. And Tyrone Williams said, I've never seen anybody make a play like that in 27 years of coaching.
He's a true freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Now, this is the best the Irish have looked on offense in 2 years.
And Brady Quinn, the 3 touchdowns, a career high. He had thrown 2 on 3 occasions. And this one to Carlyle Holiday, nudged out of bounds after a good gain on first down. Derek Johnson knocked him out of bounds. And for Matt Shelton, that big first quarter, he became the first Notre Dame receiver to catch 2 touchdowns in a game since Arnaz Battle did it against Rutgers back in 2002. So the Irish, with some first quarter fireworks, now in possession of the ball for the first time in the second period.
Looked like John Ewart to Jack Snow or something, you know?
John Ewart is here today, actually. Quinn with a pitch to Walker, looking to use the block of Schmidt. Turns the corner close to the first down. Lobendon with the tackle. Let's see where they spot it. It will be, well, close. It is first down Irish. Let's go to Lewis.
All right, John. Well, when the Washington defense was over on the sideline a few moments ago, their secondary really looked shell-shocked. Number 6, Matt Fontaine, a cornerback. Derek Johnson, another cornerback. Sam Cunningham, another cornerback. Those guys look like they were just getting ripped apart. Their secondary coach said that they wanted to put some bump, B-U-M-P, bump into the game plan, try and get a bit more physical at the line of scrimmage, but their body language really said that they were getting torched after the 3 touchdowns.
There's not much bump there. I mean, all those receivers have a lot of room.
They gave up 147 yards passing in the first quarter as Walker broke a tackle and ripped off a run of 8 yards. Chris Hemphill finally brings him down with help from Brandon Alla. Washington gave up for the game 125 yards, a touchdown passing against Fresno State. UCLA, of course, didn't have to pass. They ran at will, 122 yards, no scores. And in the first quarter today, Notre Dame.
Well, look what they allowed last week against UCLA. I mean, Maurice Drew, 47, 62, 58, and 37-yard touchdown runs.
Being in the gaps was what they were failing to do, in the proper gaps. Here's Walker again trying to find a gap, none there. Pounced on early, actually. It was Evan Benjamin, who's had a good game, and a late flag came flying in. Evan Benjamin has made 2 or 3 nice tackles.
Yeah, a couple of interceptions this year. One against Fresno State, one against UCLA. Sister played volleyball at UW, and father played in the National Football League. He was a safety last year. They kind of moved him closer to the line of scrimmage, and he's really played well.
Yeah, his sister Paige was a volleyball All-American at UW, and brother Anthony played at Duke and Seattle in the NFL.
Personal foul against the Huskies.
After the play, personal foul on the defense. Number 3, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Chris Hemphill.
3 in white left to the screen.
Yeah, can't do that.
What is it, Dan Stevens?
Unless you're in the SEC.
Well, this guy, Chris Hemphill, the coaches would talk to us Thursday up in Seattle, saying, hey, this guy's deserved a chance to play. It was his first action, but he gets a 15-yard penalty. It's like on the action the coaches were hoping.
From the 31 now, McKnight, the motion man. Brady Quinn steps up. His pass short to McKnight. McKnight dodged a couple of tacklers, then ridden down by Evan Benjamin.
He was playing pretty well in this first half for the Irish. Named Bob Morton, the offensive guard.
Flag down, Pat.
Okay. Bob Morton, number 76. Yeah, this is my luck. He probably held on that play. But he's been pulling. And that nice little 8-yard run by Darius Walker a moment ago. He was leading the way. And a versatile player, could play center, play either guard. And I've never been around a football team that if you don't get good leadership out of your offensive lineman, you're just not going to be a good offensive team. And I think the Irish offensive line is coming on.
Holding penalty against the Irish.
Holding on the offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Still first down.
Put the hex on Morton yet, no doubt. Anthony Fasano, though, was the man guilty of the hold that time.
Here, the Irish have 6 scholarship tight ends. Fasano was one of them. But there's a whole slew of them.
Of course, Jerry Clark was a quarterback when he came.
Yep.
In South Bend.
And Jerome Collins, who's now playing tight end, was a defensive linebacker last year. Here they are, tight ends and scholarship. 85 scholarship players. They have a lot of cap room and capology. 6 guys tied up in one position here.
Walker. Offensive line opened a little seam for him. He wiggled through and then was hit hard by Benjamin and Wallace at about the 30-yard line.
The other thing about Darius Walker is he has good ball security. The biggest adjustment for freshman running backs coming out of high school when they play college football is there's so much more people trying to attack the ball, strip it from you. But he's really protected the ball pretty doggone well.
Something that has cost Travis Thomas some playing time in the Irish backfield.
3 fumbles and 11 carries. Leprechaun this year, by the way.
Second down and 9. Quinn going for the end zone. And nice adjustment. And a flag comes down as McKnight tried to come back for the ball, and they'll call Derek Johnson for interference. Always happens, doesn't it, as the receiver comes back for an underthrown ball.
If Derek Johnson, though, gets turned, you would get that head turned, and then he has a right to go after the ball, but he never did get turned. And Derek Johnson from Notre Dame High School in Riverside, he's had a pretty good career. 11 career interceptions.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty, previous spot, automatic first down.
Yeah, Johnson, a 4-year starter, just 7 interceptions shy of the all-time Washington record. And that one was...
I'm not so sure that pass interference.
Questionable.
Yeah, you just got to knock the ball out.
Questionable.
I think that's a bad call.
Mentioned he went to Notre Dame High School, was excited as he told us to come play at the University of Notre Dame. He was an all-state running back at Notre Dame High School. From Riverside, California. Fake to Walker. Quinn rolls to the end zone. Fasano. Touchdown. Touchdown, the second of the game for Fasano, and a career-high number 4 for Brady Quinn. Big grin from Brady, yes sir. 4 touchdown passes in the first half. That'll make anybody dance a jig.
That's a lot of push-ups for the cheerleaders over there. The swinging gate. Just trying to force the Washington defense to make one more adjustment so they don't rush the extra point as well as they could.
Fitzpatrick boots it through. Irish answer the Washington field goal with a touch. Brady Quinn's 4th of the game and the 2nd receiving for tight end Anthony Fasano.
All right, James, can we look at it again? A little play action fake. We have.
It's one of those games where the Leprechaun can dance and celebrate as the Irish have built a big lead. The push-ups at this rate. And speaking of this rate, Brady Quinn, 4 touchdown passes today, ties the Notre Dame record for most touchdown passes in a game. It's been done 8 times previously, the last time Carlyle Holiday against Rutgers in 2002. Charles Frederick behind the wedge. And couldn't get behind the wedge very far because Freddie Parrish on special teams penetrated and got the stop of Frederick.
Well, everything is working for the Irish. That's Fasano circled there, Anthony Fasano. It's had a great play-action fake. I tell you, one of the things Brady Quinn is really developing is that play-action pass. Got the running game going a little bit. 2 touchdowns by Fasano, 2 touchdowns by Shelton.
And Quinn with a chance to set the Notre Dame record with 4 touchdown passes in the first half, helped by some Washington penalties on that drive.
Yeah, that was a number 3. Chris Semple late there. He hits Stan Stevenson right in front of the umpire. And then the pass interference call just a moment later.
Frederick gets his hands on the football and produces a Washington first down. Frederick with the reception from Casey Paws.
Now, I think being down 28-3 with 9 minutes remaining, I think they need to change the pace of the game a little bit. You know, in and out of the huddle, or maybe run your 2-minute offense just to give yourself a little bit of change of pace.
Finally, they found a little success on their last drive for Coach Gilbertson. Coach Gilbertson, who has been the head coach at both Idaho and California. In fact, when he was the head coach at Idaho, his coordinators, Bill Diedrich offense, Kent Bayer defense, and they are the present coordinators for Notre Dame. Shelton Sampson gets the call, stopped by Corey Mays.
You know, we talked about Keith Gilbertson growing up 32 miles from Husky Stadium. He used to go to the game, sit in the end zone, buy a ticket for $1, root for the UW greats. And
Son of a coach, huh?
You know, God, his dad's been a coach for 54 years, a coach and teacher there in high school.
Keith Sr., 77 years old, still going strong.
Yeah, we asked him if his dad was going to come to today's game. He says, nope, he's coaching the game Friday night, can't make it.
Ndukwe into the secondary for the Irish. Shovel pass broken up and nearly intercepted. That'll be an incomplete pass. And it was Derek Curry who got in the middle of things, smelling out that attempted shovel pass, attempted to get to Russo.
Yeah, number 49, Curry, right here, just really kind of reads it, sees it.
Nearly had it.
Yeah. You know, we talked about this defense having a lot of edge and attitude and swagger. I think brought on a lot by Tom Zibikowski and Dwight Ellick, but these linebackers for Notre Dame, these guys sure don't go down much. You don't block them and get them off their feet much.
It's been 9 games since the Irish defense has given up a second quarter touchdown. Pause pass behind Frederick, who thought he was held, and here comes a flag just now. Toledo and Mays were hooked up and locked up, and perhaps illegally so.
When it comes back there from the back judge, it's usually on a hold, usually on the tight end. Somebody's holding the tight end.
Prior to the pass being thrown, holding on the defense, number 46. 10-yard penalty, previous spot, automatic first down.
Corey Mays with a hold for Notre Dame, so we'll give the Huskies a first down.
Okay. Corey Mays right down here. Look at that. That's the call. Yep. So that back judge is looking for, always looking for the tight end plays. Easy call for him.
Delivers. The slant is complete to Williams. And a gain of about 9 yards on first down. Stopped by Preston Jackson.
Talk about Justin Tuck having 4 different rushers. We've seen 2. This is the third. You're going to see the bull rush. He's just going right through, trying to use power. First one with that spin was kind of a finesse move, and then he had that counter. And the third of his 4 pass rushes, the bull rush.
It's been sort of a standoff between Barnes and Tuck today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. They both had their moments.
Second and short. If they go for the big play here. Barely got the handoff to James. And he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. I don't know if Paws tripped or what, but he was lucky to reach James with a handoff.
He's seen some good offensive line play. Brad Vanneman, the center for Washington. I was watching the tape of the UCLA game. Boy, he pulls and runs awfully well for a center. Did it again right there.
We're going to measure to see if James was able to fight forward enough to pick up a first down.
Vanneman at 6'3", 300 pounds. Really, boy, does he move well, as does Khalif Barnes. We've seen Barnes, but we don't see the centers pull as much. Picked up the first down there.
So Washington continues in Notre Dame territory, but trailing 28-3, and still 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
And I think, the score 28-3, I think you're in that, the 4-down zone. They're not looking for field goals. They're looking for touchdowns. 27 yards rushing on 10 attempts for Washington today.
James is the only setback here with 2 tight ends. Pause, rolling, has protection. Far downfield and way too far for Frederick, who was double covered. And the pass way over his head.
You can see why they just don't want doing this type of game where he has to win it by throwing. He came in completing only 46% of his passes and has thrown a bunch of high balls. See the dreadlocks there of Charles Frederick. Talked to him this week, and he said, boy, I haven't washed my hair in 3 years. Well done.
The thing I liked best about Frederick, though, was that constant big smile.
Yeah.
E.T.
He doesn't like to talk about himself, even though he's really a dynamic player.
Pause. Finds Williams. He's been the most productive receiver for the Huskies today. Stopped in by Mike Richardson. It's going to be about a yard short of the first down.
One of the characteristics of Kent Bear's defenses over the 3 years that we have watched them is that, boy, they are just good tacklers. And I think this may be his best tackling team that I've seen over the last 3 years. His 2002 team, intercepted balls. They turned a lot of balls, interceptions and fumbles into touchdowns. But this is a very, very good tackling team.
Corey Williams, who has 5 catches for 72 yards, out of the game on 3rd down and 1. See if they give it to James in the short yardage situation. Yes, it is. James hit behind the line and dropped for a loss by Mike Goolsby.
It'll be short. I think you have to go for it.
Right.
Just we talked about it being a 4-down zone. Goolsby is a good blitzer, isn't he?
Sure is.
Good middle linebacker.
But he may be the injured Irish player here. It is good, Mike Goolsby.
This is the guy that sat out all last season with an injured clavicle, couldn't play. And boy, he has made a difference in his senior year as he's come back and led the defense.
Former Illinois Player of the Year at Joliet Catholic High School. And sitting out last year really made him realize how much he loved this game of football and dedicated himself to an outstanding 2004 season.
Well, he's a good tackler and he's a good blitzer. Right off the corner there, he just kind of runs into a couple of his guys and gets hit in the pile. But he's one of those good blitzer, good tackler, and good in the pass game, too.
James, 7 carries for only 3 yards. He's the tailback in the eye on 4th down, less than a yard. Pause. Maybe with second effort, got it on the sneak. Brandon Hoyt stacking it up right in the middle, but he only needed half a yard or so. And with second effort, it looked like he might have gotten it. They'll unstack them and take a long look at it. Good effort by Pause in any event.
Yeah, it was a good second.
Not a very good spot. I think that's what Coach Gilbertson is complaining about. That was not a very good spot. And you see Pause pointing at, I was all the way up here. Not a very good spot for the Huskies that time.
He certainly didn't get it in the first surge, but you're right. He kind of bounced off a guy, and I thought he got it on a second effort.
And I thought he definitely was further upfield than this. That's not even close.
By that measurement, he lost yards, which I don't think he did.
No, that was a poor spot, in my opinion. I thought it would be very close and perhaps a Washington first down. And they got a poor spot from this Pac-10 officiating crew. And Notre Dame takes over on downs.
Let's have another look at it, Tom. Watch the first effort. Pause gets, the quarterback sneak, goes to left guard, gets hit, but just does not stop. And I absolutely agree with you. I think he got it past the first down marker. Should have been a first.
But it's ruled Notre Dame's ball on downs. Welcome back to Notre Dame football, presented by Hall's Fruit Breezers. It's a 28-3 game with 5:37 on the clock for the first half. And Casey Pause, the quarterback. Charles Frederick, the wide receiver, just giving the ball over on downs to Notre Dame. So the Irish take over with the big lead. Here's Walker to the outside. Put on a little move, but couldn't shake free, and a flag comes flying in. Dynamic duo Misty May and Kerry Walsh took home gold as a team in Athens, but now it's time to find out which one is best on the beach. The top 16 AVP pros hit the Hawaiian sand in a beach volleyball event. AVP Hawaiian Invitational presented by Paul Mitchell. That's tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on NBC.
They were awesome in the Olympics. Awesome.
Holding on the offense, number 5. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, still first down.
And they called it on Raymond McKnight, but I got to tell you, Mark Lavore, the right tackle, had a great block.
So Brady Quinn has completed his last 5 passes in a row, and overall is 12 of 16 for 176 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Continue to be staggered how you keep track of these things. Look at that, right there, the graphic.
I don't even have that many fingers.
Ties Notre Dame record. That surprises me. I would have thought Joe Theismann or John Ewart.
8 times it's happened, and of course Notre Dame known for that terrific running game over the years. Quinn had a man wide open there. That was Powers Neal, and missed him.
Can you believe we talked about John Ewart? Can you believe this is the 40th anniversary of the era of Ara? Ara Parsegan started 40 years ago. The incomparable Ara Parsegan. September 26, 64, beat Wisconsin 31-7.
Greeted you, did he not?
Yeah, had some great teams. I never thought Ara got enough credit in the pantheon of college coaches. I mean, this guy was really imaginative for his time in the 60s and 70s.
Second down and 16. Walker on the drop play. A nice game. The freshman takes it to the 40-yard line, carrying tacklers with him.
You mentioned Joe Lobendon, the middle linebacker for Washington, who just kind of smacked Rashawn Powers Neal right there. He mentioned he had his wisdom teeth taken out. If they had not been taken out before that hit, he would have lost them right there.
Benjamin was in on another tackle too, piling up the stats. Lobendon missed all of last year because of a knee injury. Had a medical redshirt year in 2003.
But I thought it was interesting. He flew on his own expense to 3 away games. He flew to Arizona, Cal, UCLA to support his team.
Here's Lobendon, the junior from Honolulu. Timeout Irish as the play clock was ticking down. Carl Bonnell, the freshman quarterback, loosening up on the sideline, and Isaiah Standback, the other quarterback for the Huskies, as Marcus Wilson gets the call on first down. The problem with the changing quarterbacks as far as the Huskies are concerned is that both Standback and Bonnell are known as option quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Casey Pauls is the best passer of the 3. And 28-3, you're going to have to, I think keep playing him. Even though he just has not thrown the ball accurately, thrown about 4 or 5 balls high, a couple on the dirt.
Here's Brady Quinn on the other end of the scale for the Irish, finding another receiver. This is Matt Shelton. Another big game, first down Irish. Sam Cunningham forced him out of bounds.
Well, I think the Irish set a signal. Their opening play today, they ran the reverse, right? The wide receiver reverse to Matt Shelton. Not only gained a yard, but this is a much more aggressive team, much more aggressive play calling, and much better execution. Bill Dietrich, the offensive coordinator, said, I want to be able to use the entire call sheet that we have, and boy, they've done that today.
And he used the same word you used, Pat, more aggressive offensively, more aggressive play calling that began with the Michigan game. Somehow, in traffic, Fasano is able to hold on to that ball. So Fasano and Shelton are doing the damage for the Irish in the passing game today. And how did he hold on to that one?
See, he just didn't bobble the ball much, does he? Those strong hands. I mean, both he and Sheldon, they don't bobble the ball much. I thought he looked like he was expecting to get hit a lot earlier in that run than he did.
And it must have been a mix-up on the route because he and McKnight were right in the same spot. In any event, it's an 8-yard gain, second down and 2. Pretty efficient day for Fasano, huh? 3 catches, 2 touchdowns.
And some awfully good blocks, too, Tom.
Draw play, Walker. Didn't fool Washington. Stopped at the 35-yard line by Hopoy.
You know, when you're
White.
Excuse me. When you're passing the ball as well as Notre Dame is, it's really tough to be patient in that running game we talked about. I think it's the hardest thing, as Tyrone's going to call timeout, is to stay with the running game. But they've been averaging 36 rushes a game. And boy, does that rest your defense.
And as Notre Dame calls a timeout, we remind you that it's NBC Premiere Sunday coming up tomorrow with all new episodes of American Dreams, Law and Order, Criminal Intent, and Crossing Jordan. All new, all premieres. NBC Premiere Sunday tomorrow night beginning at 8, 7 Central. Well, together, Matt Shelton and Anthony Fasano, Pat, have combined for 7 catches, 115 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
They've got it going. They've got good pass protection. The running game probably hasn't been as dominant or as good as it has been the last 2 weeks. But boy, Brady Quinn has looked like a different kind of passer as well. Coming off his first receiver, throwing it to the backside, throwing the ball, real good ball position where guys have been able to run after the catch. This is as well as Brady has thrown the ball in the last year and a half. His 13th start, only 19 years old.
I think this is just what the Notre Dame coaches were looking for today. Balance in their offense and defense, and continued good opportunistic play from their defense.
Starts with good defense. They've had that for the last 3 years. But their offense is coming of age right now.
Quinn's hitting at a 70% clip. Saw the timeout situation with 1:16 on the clock. Walker nearly broke it, just caught by a shoestring, by a shoe top, by C.J. Wallace.
You just sense the explosion of Darius Walker. The guy, we talked about him not being just a little small, little scat-back type. He is a strong, powerful kind of runner.
51 yards today. He was, 98 yards last week, and over 100 his first game against Michigan. Quinn, right back to him. He caught it. That's a legal play. Ala was the man that deflected it right back into the arms of Brady Quinn. Now that is spreading the ball around.
That's right. Now to his 12th different receiver he's thrown the ball to this season. Himself, yeah. Wonderful pass protection. Mark LaVore, number 73, the right tackle, and Dan Stevenson. Boy, just giving him a lot of time to get rid of that ball.
Ala tackled him. White Frisbee is the man that deflected the pass. Jordan White Frisbee, the freshman, getting his start today. 6'7", 340 pounds.
The coaches are really, really high on White Frisbee. He's a true freshman. He said this is a guy that, they would have preferred maybe to redshirt him, but this guy, he's going to have a big career, they're saying, at Washington. Just kind of clogs up the middle.
50 seconds left in the first half. 28-3 Irish. And Notre Dame with the ball at the 28-yard line of the Huskies.
If you're a Notre Dame fan, you'd love to see them finish off a half. Yes, they've played beautifully. They're up 28-3. But they didn't finish last week's game, was the second half against Michigan State in particularly good fashion. But you'd like to, if you're an Irish fan, you'd like to see him finish off this half well. Keep being the aggressive play calling.
Up to the line on 2nd and 10.
Mark LaVore and Dan Stevenson have done a great job of protecting Brady Quinn the first half.
Quinn goes for the end zone. Intended for Matt Shelton and deflected at the last minute by Goldson. Good job of defense by Dashon Goldson, the junior, Carson, California. Quinn was looking to break the Notre Dame record with a touchdown pass.
Goldson's the guy that caused 2 fumbles last week, one on special teams, one on defense, but perfect coverage. Just like trying to get a rebound. Knew exactly where Matt Shelton was.
Yeah, the key there was getting his head around, looking for the ball, and there was some incidental contact, which is legal if you have your
absolutely.
head.
He has a right to the ball, so well played by Goldson.
They're down and long. They've converted 2 of 5. Quinn, good protection. Fires it short, incomplete, too hard for Powers Neal to hold. He drilled it.
A little bit behind him. They continue to work on the ball placement. He's throwing the ball better than he has in 2 years, but that one was a little bit behind Powers Neal as well. It's probably a little too hard. Because he's going to catch that if it's out in front of him and run with it.
So on 4th down, DJ Fitzpatrick will attempt a 45-yard field goal.
Washington needs a blocked kick.
Fitzpatrick has hit 2 of 3 in the field goal department and adds another one.
That's 12 of his last 13.
45-yard field goal by DJ Fitzpatrick, and everything working for the Irish in this first half against the Huskies.
You know, DJ Fitzpatrick had that beautiful punt in the corner earlier in this quarter, and then kicks a beautiful field goal to put the Irish up 31-3. Very good idea.
34 seconds left till halftime. Notre Dame up big on the Huskies, 31-3. And the kickoff by Joya.
Carl Joya will kick off.
Joya squibs it. Taken on the bounce by Russo. And Anthony Russo short of the 30-yard line, where Washington will have a few seconds left in the first half.
Yeah, nice call on the squib kick. Again, concerned about Charles Frederick, although Frederick turned out not to be back there returning the kick.
Casey Paws 10 of 26 today for 130 yards.
Boy, they're just not good enough to get it done in any stadium, you know, because he's had pretty good protection, just throwing a lot of high balls. And if he's their best passer, they're going to have to hang in there with him.
Kenny James.
Well, you know, they have 3 timeouts, down 31-3, reasonable field position. I think you at least take some shots.
Instead, they'll let the clock run out as Greg Pauly made the last tackle for Notre Dame, and that should bring the first half to a close.
And they go in with 3 timeouts.
Big first half for Ty Willingham and the Irish. All phases of the game. At the end of the first half, they lead it 31-3. Now stay tuned for the Lexus halftime show with Jimmy Roberts after these messages and a word from your local NBC station.
They'll be moving from south to north.
He was really slinging it, throwing it up there in Washington in the early 70s.
Anastasio and Hoskins are deep for Notre Dame as we get the second half underway. This will be Hoskins getting his first chance to carry the ball in a Notre Dame uniform. And he's got a lane down the sideline.
There was the hurdle.
A penalty marker down, and the hurdle move that the coaches saw in practice caught their attention. He duplicates here on the first time he touches the ball for Notre Dame.
That is going to be his marquee move. That's the one. Now, Tyrone was smiling about it yesterday. He's not smiling about it now. But Justin Hoskins, as we said in practice this week, jumped over one of his 5'10" teammates and kept running. He almost did it right there.
Illegal block in the back. On the return, number 48. Penalty enforced half the distance to the goal. First down.
All for naught after the block in the back from Jerome Collins.
The penalty is marked off.
Yeah. Well, he didn't go he didn't have to go 5'10" that time.
Half the distance penalty.
You can see why the coaches are pretty excited about him.
It's like Alan Johnson on his way to a gold medal.
Tyrone's face, it looked like he just broke a chain letter with that look that Tyrone had.
Still shaking his head. After the penalty, the Irish begin from their own 10-yard line. Two tight ends. Freeman and Fasano. And hand it to Walker. Walker picking his way forward for 2 or 3 yards. Stopped by Dan Milstein.
We talked about this Irish offense the first half, how dynamic they were. You know, the 4 touchdowns. Brady Quinn threw the ball to 7 different receivers. That includes the one he caught himself, as he's the 7th receiver, but kind of really spread it around. 2 touchdown catches by wide receivers, by that man Shelton, 2 catches for touchdowns by Fasano. But they are really using everything in the playbook, and not only using it well, executing the plays.
Quinn appears to be changing the play on 2nd and 7. It's a handoff to Walker. Trying to use his blockers to find a seam and cannot. As White, Frisbee, and others stack it up at the line of scrimmage.
You know, the Irish continue to play like this and hold on. They'll crack the top 25 for the first time this year, and deservedly so.
And Milston on the stop for the Huskies.
You know, amazing the distance that they've offensively come between that BYU game when they played miserably on offense and to what we've seen today. But, you know, Tyrone was always confident. You know, even last year, at 5 and 7, he said, we're getting there. We're making progress. We're getting the right guys in school. And they've really found some playmakers, which I think was the biggest question mark that I had about this Irish team. They've got a few of them.
3rd down, and they run it again. And a big hole up the middle for Walker. It closes down in a hurry, and he'll be tackled short of the 1st down, I believe. See where they'll spot it after he gave a little second effort spurt at the end.
You know, you
will be short.
Excuse me, Tom. You hate 3 and outs anytime, but I think particularly when you open a half. And the Irish are going to punt it away. And if I'm Washington, I'm just trying to change the complexion of this game. I'm going after DJ Fitzpatrick and try to get a punt block.
Anthony Russo,
Anthony Russo, the deep man, awaiting the Fitzpatrick punt.
They're going to return it.
Good punt from Fitzpatrick. Russo sees it bounce, takes a Notre Dame bounce, and will be all the way inside the 30-yard line. No return on that punt that covered 53 yards. Down by Anastasio. And so Washington will get the ball for the first time in this 3rd quarter.
And what about their offensive stars? Frederick is averaging 107 coming in receptions. Only 1 catch for 11 yards. And James was averaging over 104 yards. Only 4 yards on 7 carries. Again, just this Notre Dame defense has just taken them out of their rhythm.
So Carl Bunnell, the redshirt freshman, is at quarterback for the Huskies. Bunnell came in having hit 2 of 4 passes this season. Kenny James, nowhere to go. Greg Pauly, first to hit him.
And Derek Landry, number 66. Yeah, he just kind of really clogging up the middle. This is a guy that's played very, very well in all 4 of their games. Tipped a bunch of passes, and the coaches were talking to us yesterday about him, and Kent Bear was saying he's the screen doctor. Anytime the opposing team runs a screen, he kind of smells it out and makes a play.
Bunnell's first pass didn't look good.
Well, the Huskies in the first half had 9 possessions. They had 2 of them, they were 3 and outs. In another one, they were forced fumble on the very first play. They had just 2 drives in their 9 possessions of more than 5 plays. So Keith Gilbertson knows this is a young team and knows they're struggling. But, boy, they really played poorly the first half.
Pause on the sidelines as the redshirt freshman Bunnell gets some game experience. Why not at this point? Only 1 of 7 on conversions. Bunnell's pass complete this time to Shackelford, and he has a Washington first down to the 45-yard line. Zbikowski throws him back from there, but a gain of 16 as Bunnell completes his first pass.
Nice pocket there for Carl Bunnell, and he just kind of stepped up and heaved it right into the crossing route of Sonny Shackelford. Again, the yards after the catch. Watch the pocket form for Bunnell. Perfect pocket. He just steps up. Good passing lane. And that's a nice throw by Carl. Played in their opening game against Fresno State toward the end of the ball game, and they actually originally signed with Washington State, their arch rivals.
Never enrolled in school there, though, and wound up in Seattle. Bunnell's pass, and that's on target as well. A nice catch made by Whitthorne. Bobby Whitthorne, his first catch, the freshman from Santa Margarita, California, goes for 18 yards.
He's got some whip in his arm, this Carl Bunnell. Yeah, it's funny, when we were talking to the coaches Thursday in Seattle, they were talking about Carl Bunnell being an option quarterback. Not really necessarily a guy who can wing it pretty good, but those are two pretty good throws that Carl just made.
Option, here it is. And he handed it to the first man through the fullback, Tuiasosopo, for a short gain on the play. That was the triple option. Greg Pauly came away with the ball, but no fumble ruled. And we haven't talked about Zach Tuiasosopo from the first family of Washington sports, right?
Boy, there's a lot of Tuiasosopos playing for Washington. One of them's down right now.
Yeah, that's Zach.
They're a fullback, and when you're running the option, the fullback is generally going to get some of those lead plays. A 50-yard run earlier in the year.
One of the captains of the Huskies, Zach Tuiasosopo, injured on the play. We'll take a break. Husky taken with assistance from the field and being examined over on the Washington sideline. There's his first cousin Trenton, who's also on the team. 2nd and 10 for the Huskies. Bunnell fakes one way, looks the other way, lost it for Williams. And the pass, the trajectory of the pass carried him out of bounds and into that wall.
Well, he had him open for a touchdown. That could have been an easy one. I think he just blew right by Preston Jackson.
But the pass was off target and carried Williams not only out of bounds, but he wound up hitting that brick wall.
Again, a little out and up. Caught Preston Jackson guessing. Goes by him, open by a good 5 yards. Keeps that ball on the field to play. It's a touchdown, and that doesn't happen either. They're just trying to slow himself down.
Yeah, can't stop on that.
Well, it's concrete or whatever it is.
Yeah, surface outside the playing field itself.
And Corey Williams, one of those guys that's developing for Washington, as we talked about. The other receiver from Charles Frederick had a nice game last week. Nice game today. 10 catches the last 2 weeks.
Troubles compounding for the Huskies. They lose 2 starters on consecutive plays. Gilbertson has seen the roof cave in on his Huskies today. 3rd and long. Pressure. Bunnell. And incomplete as he got it in Daniel's direction. Being chased by Justin Tuck.
Justin Tuck, the new one, just slipped away. And Derek Landry was chasing him as well. There's a guy, Justin Tuck, that plays hard. Every single play, runner pass, special teams play.
And Michael Braunstein will kick a 47-yard field goal attempt from the hold by Pause. Braunstein wearing Joe Montana's shoulder pads as he puts it up, and no good. Didn't find any of the luck of the Irish in Montana's former shoulder pads as he missed the field goal. It remains 31-3.
Yeah, I think
not much else left to do. Fruit Breezers. When screaming fans need cool, soothing relief from a dry, scratchy throat, they reach for a Hall's Fruit Breezers. Hall's Fruit Breezers. Treat your throat. By Adidas. Impossible is nothing. By Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade. Is it in you? From Notre Dame Stadium, I'm Hammond, Pat Hayden, Lewis Johnson, 10:25 to go, 3rd period. And the injured Williams looks to be walking toward the locker room. Meanwhile, Notre Dame's ball as Raymond McKnight, the intended receiver of a Brady Quinn pass, incomplete.
Well, Corey Williams goes into the locker room, and Charles Frederick wasn't in on the last series. Charles Frederick at the very beginning of the show said, we said this is the guy that has to touch the ball 10, 15 times. He has 2 touches today. Charles Frederick, number 10 right there. And the Pac-10's Special Teams Player of the Year last year. Only 1 catch, 1 special teams play.
See the other scores going by from play today. Michigan leading Iowa. Walker bouncing to the outside. Hole had been intended to go inside, and he bounced to the outside instead and is run out of bounds after a short gain by Golson.
One of the things they were worried about, the coaches are worried about as freshman running backs, is the pass protection in the passing game. But Darius Walker has held up quite well today. Thank you.
Learning rapidly. That has been one of the reasons why he hadn't been in there on passing downs. Bill Diedrich saying, you know, even fans in the stands can figure out if we're only going to use him on running downs. So he had to learn and learned at an accelerated pace, and apparently he's doing well.
Well, Brady Quinn's throwing 4 touchdown passes with him in there blocking.
Quinn sets his feet. Shelton can't quite get there. Matt Shelton was behind the defense.
You know, that was the easiest throw, which would have been his 5th touchdown, but that was the easiest throw. The other 4, you know, some tight throws, but boy, Matt Shelton continues to get behind defenses, whether it's Michigan, whether it's Michigan State, or whether it's the Husky defense.
Absolutely wide open. The pass just out of his reach. It's 4th down, and Fitzpatrick will punt.
Well, 2 sluggish series for the Irish to open the second half.
Russo is deep for the Huskies. Russo fields it at the 22 and is stripped up.
He just kind of pins him, Fitzpatrick, on those punts, pins him right into the side. That's great directional punting.
46-yard punt, only 3 yards on the return. And tomorrow, don't miss a special look back at 20 years of the Breeders' Cup. Saturday, October 30th, of course, will be championship day for the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships. But coming up tomorrow, 20-1, the Breeders' Cup Legacy. That's at 4:30 Eastern. And then the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships Saturday, October 30th, both here on NBC. And Pat, in the look back, in the look back at 20 years of the Breeders' Cup, we will tomorrow have a special fantasy race where we match theoretically all 19 horses that won the 20 Breeders' Cup Classics over the years.
Now, do you know, but you're just not going to tell?
I do know, and I'm not going to tell.
Don't tell me.
I can't even pick a winner when I know the outcome of a fake race. But all the winners of the Breeders' Cup Classic matched up in a special fantasy race. Tom Durkin's going to call it, and we're going to see who wins the matchup of all the Breeders' Cup Classic winners. Tisnow won it twice. That's why there are only 19 in the first 20 years. And then looking forward to the championship day itself. I remember the first time we did that promo here, you said, well, who's the favorite? I said, Pat, there are 8 races.
Well, I'm in the feature race.
Catch made by Kenny James out of the backfield as we check with Lewis.
All right, Tom. Well, the news is just not good for the Washington Huskies on the injury front. We'll start with Zach Tuiasosopo, their fullback. He has a right ankle injury, and in just a few moments, they will be taking him to the locker room for x-rays. You saw Corey Williams, the sophomore wide receiver, leave the field. He is headed up for x-rays because of a left wrist injury. And then finally, Charles Frederick, the wide receiver who was not in to receive the last kick, is dealing with a strained hamstring, and he's questionable for a return. Tom?
All right, Lewis. Well, as we spoke with the players and coaches of the Huskies, they were all flag is down as Whitthorne gets a couple of yards. They were all looking forward to this visit to Notre Dame. They seem to have special appreciation for the tradition and everything involved, even though the Huskies had never beaten the Irish in 4 previous attempts. They're all looking forward to it, but it's been a painful visit, both on the scoreboard and in terms of personal injuries.
Offside on the defense. Number 44 moved into the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
What do you think is going to happen first?
Still second down.
That's Justin Tuck that was offside.
What do you think is going to happen first, though? The Americans going to win the Ryder Cup, or is there going to not be a Tuiasosopo playing for the University of Washington? They've had about a dozen go through there.
And a first cousin of Zach, the injured player, Trenton, is on the team now. And the one that signed a baseball contract had the Washington coaches raving over what they could have done with him on the team. There's Zach. Here's the option. They give it to the first man through. That's the fullback, James Sims. And Zach with the shoe off. Tuck and Hoyt made the tackle as the family tree of the Tuiasosopo. So a man who, of course, played at UCLA and in the NFL, and the brother that signed with the Mariners, Matt, really had a world of football potential as well, according to the coaches.
Yeah, Keith Gilbertson, when we saw him talking about Matt, just said, oh boy, that was a guy that would have helped us immediately.
Option the other way. Bunnell hit hard, spun around, helmet off.
He got drilled. I think it was Derek Curry. That just absolutely drilled him. those outside linebackers, Curry and Hoyt for the Irish. I'll tell you, when they hit you, you go down, and sometimes you lose your helmet. There's Laws, Trevor Laws, 98, skating down the line. Yeah, it was 49. Derek Curry. You talk about good tackling drills. Kent Bear was saying to us yesterday that, we practice every single day tackling because as the season wears on, you don't get as much practice in, you become poor tacklers.
Bunnell overthrows Whitthorne. And that was when Bear said, you get what you emphasize.
Absolutely. That's why you get the turnovers. That's why you get the scores off the turnovers. That's why you recover the fumbles. Remember, he said to us in 2002, he caused 13 fumbles and recovered all of them, which tells you not only you're stripping the ball, but you got 2 or 3 of your teammates hustling around to do the second half of it, and that's recover the fumble.
It's going to be 3rd and 10 for the Irish. Or excuse me, not for the Irish, but for the Huskies. Bunnell, nobody home.
That's a punt.
Easy interception for Ellick. Flag is down, and Ellick still on his feet. Huskies trying to strip the ball away, but can't get it. Quentin Daniels finally chases down Dwight Ellick. Flag down. Let's see what the call might be.
Whitthorne and Bunnell just saw different things. Neither one of them having played much before today.
The original flag on the field was for an illegal block in the back during the return. However, it was determined that the block was on the side. Disregard the flag. There was no foul.
So pick up the flag.
Gets a big cheer from the crowd.
So far, a scoreless 3rd quarter. Irish ball when we return. Irish take over at the 43. Quinn juggled and dropped by Powers Neal.
Just behind him again. He's had some perfectly thrown balls to allow the run after the catch and some passes behind.
And after that interception by Dwight Ellick, the Irish have had an interception in 7 straight games now.
It's amazing. They had 6 turnovers last week. They caused 6 turnovers last week against Michigan State. 3 fumbles and 3 interceptions. 28 takeaways a year ago.
Brady Quinn has missed his last 5 passes after starting out by hitting 15 of 21. That's 71%. Changing the play. Wilson cut back. And then wrapped up at the 45-yard line. Looked like it was going to turn into something and didn't because of Evan Benjamin.
Evan Benjamin's played very well for the Huskies. There was a big hole and a terrific vision, terrific cut there by Marcus Wilson. Looked like he was going to pick up at least 20 yards. And the hole closed down by Evan Benjamin.
Coach Willingham looking on in what has been a lackluster 3rd quarter after the Irish built the big halftime lead.
And that's the thing I think he's going to talk about his team after the game. They didn't finish the game well against Michigan State, and they haven't started this second half well.
Sends Shelton in motion. Brady Quinn, all kinds of time, and going deep. And behind Shelton, and intercepted by Fontaine. A flag is down.
Boy, Shelton was wide open again, wasn't he?
Yeah, he just underthrew him, and
I just don't
behind him, and
I don't know why you just don't play him deep, because he keeps running by Washington defenders, and I'm talking by 3 or 4 yards.
It's like Matt Shelton will be called for a personal foul face mask after Fontaine had made the interception.
After the interception, dead ball, personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 82. 15-yard penalty from the end of the return. First down.
You saw the disgusted look on Tyrone's face, and just was saying, we had a great first half, but we've been really, really sluggish in the second half.
That's twice now in this 3rd quarter that Shelton has been yards behind the defense and unable to get him the ball.
Either you double cover him or you give him a little bit more room.
And if you're Quinn, get him the ball.
Yeah. He could have had 2. He could have had, what, 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah. And Shelton could have 4 receiving. In any event, it's Washington's ball after the interception, and Bunnell's first pass is off target. It's split would-be receivers as he wound up on the seat of his pants.
This Irish defense is just clamping down on the Washington receivers. They know Washington doesn't have Charles Frederick available to them. They saw Corey Williams limp off. So you got basically your backup receivers in right now playing against the awfully good defensive backfield of the Irish. Okay, this guy, Dwight Ellick, has had a real nice season so far.
Handoff to Shelton Sampson as a flag flies through. Shelton Sampson gets the call and stopped at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard.
Well, Shelton Sampson, has sprinter speed for the Huskies. 8 touchdowns and only 60 carries a year ago. Had a big week last week and averaged almost 8 yards a carry against UCLA. But I'll tell you, there were a lot more holes against the UCLA defense.
On the offense. Penalties declined. Down will be 3.
Good football teams, you got to start with a run. And Keith Gilbertson has got to be really concerned because they just have not moved this Notre Dame defense at all. Just have not got the running game going whatsoever. They have 19 rushing attempts for only 32 yards.
Sampson remains the running back. It's 3rd down and 8. Bunnell managed to get away and then drilled by Goolsby.
Good tackling linebackers, right, Tom? We've talked about it a lot. Now, admittedly, he's a quarterback, but a good running quarterback. But Goolsby just hit him absolutely squarely and went right down. And Goolsby looks like he's hurt a little
Judging
bit.
by the grimace on Mike's face, he might have taken the worst of it. Douglas to punt. And Carlyle Holiday awaiting the boot. Got his foot into that one, did Douglas. But into the end zone for the touchback. It covered 57 yards, but a net 37 after the touchback. Notre Dame's ball with 5:08 in the quarter. But it's been a sunny day for the Irish faithful. Their team up big, although the third quarter has been nothing to brag about. Here's Walker. A yard to the 21. Tackled by Hopoi. 3 possessions, 9 plays, 14 yards prior to that.
2 punts and an interception. Just when you think, if you're an Irish fan, they've got it going. I'll tell you one thing, this offensive line, though, has given Brady Quinn awfully good protection to find those wide receivers. He really hasn't got rushed much. A lot of sacks given up last year, but these guys really gelling.
Quinn's pass hit as he delivered, incomplete, intended for Samardzija.
Talk about the offensive line. John Sullivan, the center, nice block there. One of those highly recruited guys. The Sullivan, watch him. Gets those hands up, the little punch move. Just no movement by the defensive lineman.
And Hemphill then hit him as he delivered the pass. And suddenly it's 3rd down and 9. As effective as they were in the first half, they have been sputtering in the second.
Well, here's Matt Shelton. I would watch him deep, wouldn't you?
I would. Quinn's looking his way, but he's not open. And so he goes the other side and completes the pass for a first down to Samardzija. He makes a nice little run after the reception all the way out to the 39, gain of 17.
Yeah, Jeff Samardzija is coming along. 4 catches last week. It's his 3rd catch of the day. I bet you can't name 3 songs from his favorite band, Modest Mouse. How about Samardzija's?
Well, that was
Modest Mouse.
A safe bet. I'm going to see if I can ask him next week, and then you ask me again.
Well, we'll have to talk to him next week. Maybe name 3 by Mickey Mouse.
Fasana in motion, comes back the other way as they hand the ball off to Powers-Neal. And Rashawn Powers-Neal, the fullback, a rare carry. Tackled by Chris Hemphill.
And what about the block by the pulling tight end, Anthony Fasano? I mean, what a weapon that he has become.
Yeah, he has. Both blocking and receiving.
Yeah. He was a pretty good receiver last year as well, as their tight ends, all tight ends at Notre Dame caught 34 balls last year, which is the most since '84. But Bill Dietrich is really using them very, very well this season. You know, Fasano and Freeman and Palmer.
Last year he was the fourth leading receiver, 18, a couple of touchdowns. Powers-Neal. Giving Powers-Neal a little stint at tailback here, normally the fullback.
And this little pull there by Dan Stevenson. The guard kind of cleaned up a block, cleaned up the inside for Rashawn Powers-Neal.
Walker on the sideline as Powers-Neal plays tailback. And another first down for the Irish as we reach the 3-minute mark in the third quarter.
Darius Walker, 21 carries, only 63 yards today.
Powers-Neal, the senior from St. Paul, Minnesota, still at the tailback spot. Normally he's the fullback, as we say. Fasano in motion. Powers-Neal, draw play. Flag down.
Holding on Mr. Stevenson.
Jordan White-Frisbee made the tackle for Washington. There's Ryan Grant, number 4, unable to play today, and Walker, number 3, to his left.
And Dan Stevenson got a hold of a penetrating Washington defender.
Holding on the offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty, previous spot, still first down.
It's okay. He's played very well today. You know, second half, 1 of 7 after Brady played so magnificently in that first half. And really should have had 2 more touchdown passes.
Matt Shelton was behind the defense by 5 yards on 2 occasions, and Quinn could not get the ball to him.
But, you know, he's making better decisions. He's coming off receivers. He's managing the game better.
Over the head of Carlyle Holiday and incomplete. Quinn.
You know, we really haven't seen any draws or screens really up, 31-3, trying to use and milk some of the clock.
But did Quinn ever cool off at halftime? Man. What's that do to your confidence when you have such a good confidence-building first half and then can't do much of anything right in the second half?
Well, so with 2nd and 20, to get that confidence back, dump the ball off to a tight end, maybe that little bubble screen they have run so successfully in the past.
Draw play. Powers-Neal to the 45. Well short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and long. Well, the Irish built the 31-3 halftime lead, but have been coasting ever since. With 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Carlyle Holiday actually involved more offensively than he has been all season long. Caught a ball early in the game. It's just been returning punts, but the boy, I just give him a few more touches, Tom. He's so good in the open field.
Only 30% conversion rate for the Irish on 3rd and long. Quinn had all day and again missed his man. That was McKnight who had found the seam in the defense, sat down, and Quinn could not get the ball to him. Quinn cannot throw it in the ocean in the second half.
And there was nobody rushing him. That was perfect protection. Just a poor throw by Quinn, as well as he threw it the first half. Throwing it equally badly in the second. Look at this pass protection. Only a 3-man rush, so you know that. I mean, if you feel that 3-man rush, you know you're going to have plenty of time. Just threw it behind the receiver again.
Fitzpatrick, another boomer. Russo, fumble. He got it back. 39-yard punt. Chase Anastasio trying to recover the Russo fumble, but Russo able to hop on it. Russo, the freshman from Tacoma, took his eye off it.
Here's a guy, Anthony Russo. They're hoping that, the high school running back, you give him a chance in the open field, and the slot receiver on punt returns, maybe you break a play. But obviously looking downfield before he secures the ball.
Bunnell remains at quarterback. As Russo lines up at a wide receiver.
And Charles Frederick remains on the bench.
5 wides, empty backfield for Bunnell. Just threw that one up for grabs. Who will grab it? That's going to be pass interference is right, as Quentin Daniels coming back for the ball that was like a punt high in the air, and Burrell called for interference.
Just smart play by Carl Bunnell. He had a free blitzer that was not going to get picked up. That was his responsibility to get rid of the ball, and he did. Threw it high, and was hoping either his tall receiver, Quentin Daniels, was going to get it, or there was going to be pass interference.
Pass interference on the defense.
Good call.
Number 8. 15-yard penalty, previous spot. Automatic first down.
Spotted the ball, and Washington was huddling up right on it, and they had to move back a little bit. Now they've got the range, 33-yard line, and first down, Huskies. Bunnell stumbled as he made his retreat, and then got his feet set and found Whitthorne for a nice gain. Bobby Whitthorne has a Washington first down on a gain of 12, tackled by Ellick and Parrish.
A nice catch by Bobby Whitthorne, and really a drill shot by Carl Bunnell. And again, the nice thing about Whitthorne, he knew it was 3rd and long, and he got the proper distance for the first down. You see number 24, Ellick? Watch again how he tries to strip the ball. You know, he did it a couple of weeks ago. If you had better just secure the ball when he's tackling you, otherwise he's going to cause a fumble.
From the 45, first down, Huskies. Blitz coming from Notre Dame. Russo can't handle it, incomplete.
It seems like Kent Bear, every time there's that empty backfield, he decides to blitz. And you know that he has to get rid of the ball quickly, so he has press coverage, and just nowhere for Bunnell to throw the ball. John Pettis, the offensive coordinator, coaching the quarterbacks. Tough day for John's quarterbacks. And they need to play a lot of close games because they just can't be one-dimensional. Kenny James, really one of their offensive threats, has been completely taken out of this game.
And you had a shot at Casey Paws, the starting quarterback, who's been on the sideline second half, as Bunnell has another completion to Shackelford, and Sonny Shackelford has a Washington first down. Tackled by Parrish and Gouldsby. Another first down for the Huskies. Actually, Washington has looked sharper on offense than Notre Dame has in the 3rd quarter. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And Carl Bunnell looks like a more accurate thrower at this point than Casey Paws. Keith Gilbertson said to us this week, we have to play fast and reckless. Well, it just hasn't worked out. They played some fast plays, but not enough. Not enough fast plays. A little reckless enough.
Tried to thread it in there to Whitthorne, and Whitthorne paid the price. Gouldsby and Zibikowski combined to sandwich him, and incomplete.
Zibikowski is a guy, you know, who returned a fumble last week, 75 yards for a touchdown against Michigan State. And a couple articles written about him this week. He was a boxer, amateur boxer, 62-13 as an amateur boxer. And he's just a tough guy. Strong, he's tough. High school quarterback, believe it or not.
He got a free shot in on Whitthorne that time. 2nd down and 10. Bunnell with a handoff to Rankin. Lewis Rankin carrying tacklers to the 35-yard line. Pauly first to hit him. And you mentioned those strong hands of Zibikowski, and Tom, as the fighter, well, Lewis somehow found a pair of boxing gloves and put them on Tommy Z. Showing you...
Well, you know, they have, you know, kind of an amateur boxing here at Notre Dame, but they do not let him participate. It's a thing called the Bengal bouts. They do it for a charity, for missions in Bangladesh, but he's not allowed to participate.
But you saw those boxing hands, the strong hands last week against Michigan State, took the ball away and right out of the grasp of a Michigan State player. Here's Bunnell with a nice scramble, and he has another first down. Gouldsby tracked him down. Flag is on the play.
Gouldsby's got some pretty good speed, doesn't he?
Yeah, that one gained 13 yards out of the scramble.
Just no body fat in this game.
And a face mask personal foul against the Irish. So Washington threatening. Time has expired here in the third quarter.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Penalties enforced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down. The quarter will be extended for one untimed down.
So on a defensive penalty, you extend the quarter for one more play.
Goolsby, as he was tackling Bunnell going out of bounds, got a hand on his face mask.
Look at Washington. They have outgained Notre Dame in the third quarter. And they have one play left on the 11-yard line of Notre Dame. Washington can make a first down without scoring, as the ball is right on the 11. So barring another defensive penalty, this will be the final play of the third quarter. Bunnell still has it, and Carl Bunnell diving toward the goal line advances it all the way to the 1-yard line, and Bunnell has been impressive as he has taken over the controls of the Washington offense here in the third quarter. No scores in the third, but Washington threatening when we start the fourth. Third quarter, Washington outgained Notre Dame 117 yards to 49 and had 9 first downs to only 2 for the Irish. Notre Dame football brought to you by Hall's Fruit Breezers, and we begin the fourth quarter with Washington at the Notre Dame 3-yard line and second down and 2.
Bunnell's a good option quarterback, and the option play is even more difficult to defend down here when the defensive linemen want to be so aggressive. You need to be disciplined against an option play.
Flag is down on the first play of the fourth quarter as James Sims got the carry.
James Sims. Goolsby, Landry, Greg Pauley, all the way.
And an illegal shift against the Huskies.
Illegal motion on the offense. 5-yard penalty, previous spot, still second down.
So now second down and 7, but the ball back at the Notre Dame 8. 10 penalties and over 100 yards for Notre Dame. Huskies had to step off against them that time, making it second down and 7. Bunnell rolls and fell down when he had wide open spaces in front of him.
Yeah, he saw that big lane to the backside. He was just trying to make a really sharp cut, and it looks like he had enough speed maybe to get the ball into the end zone. Designed sprint out pass. Good up the field rush by Justin Tuck, forces him back inside. But he had some open territory if he could have kept his balance. Again, both starting receivers out of the game for Washington right now with injuries.
So third down and 11. The ball back at the Notre Dame 12. Charles Frederick unable to play with a sore hamstring. And with the play clock at 2, Washington signals for a timeout. Washington taking timeout, facing a third down. We'll be back. Stadium, third down and 11 for Washington. They're at the 12-yard line of Notre Dame, and Bunnell rolls out. He's got a lot of room to run. Directing traffic, throws to the end zone. Incomplete.
Dropped.
A diving attempt came up empty. Whitthorne.
I tell you, flag down. A nice play, though. I think patient play by Carl Bunnell. Did he pass the line of scrimmage? Is that what they're going to say?
Yeah, it's going to be close.
Illegal man downfield. But
illegal downfield.
I mean, really a patient play by Carl Bunnell in a ball that, tough catch, but catchable by Whitthorne. It's not hard. Nice soft one. You know, inside his the frame of his body.
Yeah, Whitthorne laid himself out, and maybe he didn't have to.
Downfield on the offense, number 74. Penalties decline. Down will be 4.
Daniels guilty of the downfield penalty. Yeah, Whitthorne laying his body out.
Why kick a field goal?
I don't know. Well, because it enables us to finish the story about Michael Ronstein, Bjorn Nitmo, the former kicker of the Kansas City Chiefs, got Joe Montana's old shoulder pads. I don't think this was a fake, but it winds up being an abortive play for the Huskies as Derek Curry recovers it. The snap looked to be bad. Brandon Hoyt delivered a blow.
And down 31-3, I think, you know, you shouldn't kick the field goals.
And Poss, the holder, just fumbled it. The snap was a little high, but he just mishandled it. That sort of sums up the way the day has gone for the Huskies. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Hall's Fruit Breezers. When screaming fans need cool, soothing relief from a dry, scratchy throat, they reach for a Hall's Fruit Breezers. Hall's Fruit Breezers treat your throat. By Capital One, what's in your wallet? By Subway, living well and eating well is about making choices. We're glad we're one of them. Subway, choose well. And by Allstate, are you in good hands? Notre Dame with the Shamrock on the football, takes over with a 31-3 lead, but nothing to show for the second half except some frustration. Brady Quinn, still the quarterback, pumps once, now going for McKnight. Behind the defense, McKnight tackled inside the 20-yard line by C.J. Wallace, who had the angle on him.
Great pump fake, good call, a little, give and go there to Raymond McKnight. But once again, it started with excellent pass protection that Brady Quinn has enjoyed most of this game. Look at those guys up front. Nobody's vision allows him to pump it and still get it off.
And it covered 50 yards.
That was only about a 5-step drop, but still there wasn't anybody in his face that allowed Raymond McKnight to get open and Brady Quinn to deliver a good deep ball. He's missed some deep balls, but he sure hits them as well.
That one for 50, and first down, Notre Dame at the 18 of Washington. Walker hit behind the line, spun his way for a couple of yards.
Darius Walker.
Tackle made that time by Grayson Gunheim of the Huskies, the freshman from California.
Darius Walker was saying he started playing football at the age of 5, and I think from the very first day he was a running back. So they've been running with the ball ever since age 5, and continues a pretty good string here in his third game as a significant contributor. First-time starter today.
And run he did in his high school days. Lawrenceville, Georgia. Georgia Player of the Year. Here he is. Touchdown. 17-yard scamper for Darius Walker, who scored 91 touchdowns in that storied high school career, breaking Herschel Walker's records. And his dad, the former player for Lou Holtz at Arkansas, applauds Darius's scamper for the score.
It's a terrific block right in here by Morton, the guard. Watch how he pulls, just blocks the middle linebacker Logan and allows Darius Walker to get in the end zone.
Fitzpatrick, the point after, good. Walker, well, he was through that hole in a hurry, wasn't he? Touchdown run. The Irish extend their lead.
Yeah, well done. Nice lead there. Thanks.
The old rivals Purdue and Notre Dame a week from today, and right now the Irish appear to be on their way to a victory over Washington, and 38 points means
38 push-ups by the students. They're happy to do it though.
Russo takes the kickoff. Ooh. Arm tackle didn't bring him down. He gets to the 25-yard line. And it's time now for the Hall's Fruit Breezers screaming fan of the game.
Look at those guys.
That's their natural habitat, I have a feeling. That's the family of Brad Vanneman, the Washington center, including his two sisters. Irish fans feeling good today. And look at this cute guy. That's Patrick, along with his brother Lucas. Patrick Higgins at his first football game. He's our Hall's Fruit Breezer screaming fan of the game. Kenny James back in the backfield for the Huskies with a 5-yard run.
Well, he keeps laying the lumber, doesn't he, Brandon Hoyt? 39. Golly, he's a good tackler. Kent Bear was saying to us, I just love watching Brandon Hoyt play. And you can see why.
We talked 2 weeks ago about Kent Bear saying to his linebackers during the week before the Michigan game, I don't know if you're tough enough. Of course, that was all calculated. Well, he was telling us yesterday that one of his habits is to just kind of walk up next to one of his players and say in a very conversational tone, soft.
Yeah, you're soft.
Here's Kenny James racking up a first down, taking tacklers with him.
He knows what it's going to elicit. Usually a pretty good game.
Yeah, they want to prove that they're not soft. And I can just see him now walking up, standing on the sideline next to a guy practicing, saying nothing but soft.
Yeah. There's a guy, Kent Bear, as a defensive coordinator. It does it about as well as anybody. He's done it for 3 years here at Notre Dame. And don't understand why he didn't get a head coaching job.
James can have it stripped. That was Dwight Ellick that stripped him of the football, and the Irish recover.
Well, Dwight Ellick did that against Michigan State. It was in Michigan. It's the second time Dwight Ellick has done it, and almost for the second time today. And it's coached. But these guys are really feet though. I mean, Kent Bear just coaches the stripping the ball. They practice this every single day, but no one does it better than Dwight Ellick, including Tom Zibowski, excuse me. He plays strong hands.
And Ndukwe winds up falling on the ball to recover for the Irish. Looks like Dillingham is taking over and out quarterback, replacing Brady Quinn. Pat Dillingham at quarterback.
How do you know that's not Tom Zibowski? Both wear number 9.
Fumble. That was Travis Thomas, of all people.
No.
That would be his 4th fumble of the season.
In 12 attempts.
Got it back.
Well, he's gotten 2 of them back and lost 2 of them.
It's got to be a mental thing with Travis now.
You know, they're so high on Justin Hoskins, who's returned 1 kick today, and is going to bring him along slowly. But with a 38-3 lead, isn't it? You know, don't you have a safe enough lead to give him a chance?
Jeff Jenkins now makes an appearance at running back, junior from Ann Arbor.
You ignoring me again?
Yeah. You know how coaches feel.
I know, he's not going to change his mind.
Jenkins. Let's go to Lewis.
Okay, Tom, up in the stands with some Notre Dame fans. And you know, the freshman running back for Notre Dame, Darius Walker, has a serious support system. His mom and dad, Laverne and Jimmy, have moved here from Georgia to support their team. Now, Mom, I was asking you about the decision to move here. Why did you do that?
Well, we decided to move to Indiana to support Darius because he is the youngest and to support him in his college endeavors.
What's it like to see him practice every day? You guys are out there every day.
Well, yes, practice is something that we have done with him since he was a little boy, and every practice that we can make, we're there, so we decided to keep up the same tradition. It seems to work for us.
Jimmy, you have seen your son all of a sudden get a lot of attention. How do you think he's handled all this newfound fame here on the campus?
He's handling quite well. I think the coaching staff's done a great job in keeping him humble along with his parents, his mom, of course, and they've done a great job. He's done a great job handling it.
And you know a little bit about football, of course, had some exploits years ago on defense. Are you able to coach him up a little bit, or do you leave that alone and let Willingham handle all of that?
Oh, I leave it alone. It's up, you know, it's kind of amazing to see that I have 2 quality fine sons that's been running backs. I was a defensive player, so I don't know where I went wrong. I thought I was going to have a defensive tackle.
Well, I don't know if you went wrong. It looks like you went right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all enjoy. Here's Delvin, the other running back over here behind you. Congrats, folks. Tom?
All right, Lewis. Anthony Russo stopped in his tracks by Chris Vaughn on special teams. 50-yard Fitzpatrick punt. Only 2 on the return. Notre Dame football brought to you by Hall's Fruit Breezers. It's a 38-3 game with 9:25 on the clock, fourth quarter. They're doing a little dance to Shelton Sampson and getting nowhere.
You know, Tom, I mentioned 40 years ago, Eric Parsegan started his first time as a head coach here, but 30 years ago, first female cheerleaders here in South Bend. And actually, they were St. Mary's students. They came over, 4 students from St. Mary's came over and graced the sideline, and 3 years later, they went co-ed. And they've got a lot to cheer about today.
Yes, they do. And so do we, cheering the appearance of female cheerleaders.
I said they graced the sideline.
Nice catch. Quentin Daniels caught it off the turf, then drew a crowd of blue shirts, didn't he?
Yeah. What a nice day for Brady Quinn, though, Tom. Huh? 4 touchdown passes. You know, had some brilliant moments. I know he's going to think about the passes that slipped away and missed. Ties a Notre Dame record. Really could have easily have thrown 6, but he has shown dramatic improvement. Looked people off, made the right decisions, managed the game. You know, guys got in and out of the huddle and won a lot of penalties against the Irish. So 19-year-old sophomore, having finished his 13th start, looks pretty good. Still some upside.
Bunnell's pass nearly picked out of midair by Chris Fromm.
He's another, you know, we haven't talked much about Chris Fromm this year, but a guy that coaches think he's going to be really part of their rotation at defensive end as the year goes on.
Second down for the Huskies. And that looked like a false start by Washington. Go to Lewis.
Well, Tom, as the scoreboard reflects, a tough day for the Washington Huskies. So does this final report regarding injuries. We saw fullback Zach Tuiasosopo leave the stadium earlier. They took x-rays of his right ankle. Now, the trainers wouldn't give me specific information, but they said they must have seen something because he's on the sideline, as we've seen, in a boot, done for the day. And that's a tough thing to see, considering this is the 3rd game of the season. Also, Corey Williams, their sophomore wide receiver, on the bench with an ice bag on his left wrist after x-rays. Tom?
And we saw Charles Frederick there on the sideline holding the back of his leg.
And Keith Gilbertson needs a hip replacement in February. There's the guy that I think they really missed today, Tom.
Yep.
I think he only had 2 touches.
Well, you said before the game started that to have success, he was going to have success individually. Ball still loose. It was fumbled, and the Irish think they have it, and the officials agree. Ndukwe was involved once again. He recovered the last fumble after Alec
5
stripped
fumbles, and they've recovered 4. Again, it just goes along with what Kent Baer was saying, Tom, right? I mean, you know, the one thing is to cause the fumble. That was just kind of a drop one, but cause the fumble. It's an entirely different thing to recover the fumble. So 4 out of the 5, 80% of the fumbles lost by Washington, they've recovered. Ndukwe, again, he stripped it.
Did he?
Ndukwe.
Yeah, popped it out from the back side, did he?
He did, absolutely. Alec is there, has it for a moment.
Sims in there trying to get it back for Washington.
A lot to cheer about for the Irish. They'll be in the top 25 next week.
Hoskins gets his first carry from scrimmage. The highly touted freshman Justin Hoskins from Grand Rapids gets his first carry from scrimmage.
And David Wolke in as well.
Wolke is a freshman from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. David Wolke, 6'4", 205 at quarterback.
Well, you think David, when he was preparing for today's game, thought he was going to get a chance to play? He ran the scout team all week.
Brady Quinn started. Dillingham had a series, and now Wolke.
And the coaches aren't concerned about redshirting players as much anymore.
Hoskins. Well, it's a move for a moment, then planted on his backside by Derek Johnson.
And the reason, Tom, is that there's a discussion about a 5th year of eligibility for NCAA athletes. And so coaches are kind of taking the tack, hey, I'm going to have this guy 5 years. Don't redshirt him, play him when they're freshmen.
Hoskins getting his feet wet. And here's Travis Thomas back in the game.
Hold on the ball, Travis.
Going to give him another chance.
Hold on to the ball, Travis.
Travis has it. And Travis holds on to it.
Darius Walker again.
Madiaki with the tackle for Washington.
There he is. You know if you stand by the quarterback, you get on TV a lot. That always works. But nice day for Darius Walker.
As
tough.
a former quarterback, you should know.
Exactly right. Tough, some really tough runs. Some tough, didn't mishandle the ball at all. He's a mature kid, and I think his parents have raised him pretty well because he seems to be able to handle the spotlight pretty well. He welcomes it, he relishes it, but it doesn't overwhelm him.
Thomas hit in the backfield, dropped for a loss by White.
Both hands around that ball.
And that was a 4th down play, so the ball goes over to the Huskies with 6 minutes left. And don't forget, we'll be back here in South Bend next Saturday. Fighting Irish will look to win their 4th in a row as they take on their in-state rivals, the Boilermakers of Purdue, who come in with an unbeaten 3-0 record. And that's Purdue and Notre Dame, presented by Coca-Cola, next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, only on NBC.
Early in the year, Tom, but Purdue looks like perhaps the class of the Big Ten.
Could be.
Kyle Orton, 13 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's got political aspirations, too, I read the other day.
Yeah, he and Joe Tiller have these political discussions all the time and might run for office someday. Who knows? But at this rate, it'll be after his pro career, the rate he's going now. Bunnell pitches, even though he was wrapped up, and it results in a loss on the play.
Ball is pitched out.
Pitch back to Rankin. And what a turnaround for the Irish, Pat, from the gloom and doom of a loss at BYU, in which they gained 11 yards on the ground, to a diversified offense and a rock-solid defense in the 3 games subsequent to that loss to BYU.
Well, the defense, I think, even played well against BYU. So they had 4 outstanding defensive games, and then they really started rushing the ball against Michigan. And today, over 100 yards rushing again.
Rankin.
But much more balanced, Tom. I mean, I think that offensive funk we saw last year from the Irish in the opening game against BYU, I think they're out of the fog. Bill Dietrich deserves some credit, called good game, and they've executed it well.
And they'll get a test against the Boilermakers next week. Should be a great one. Hope you'll join us.
Let's see, we have Wolverines in and Huskies in, and now Boilermakers.
Greg Madison calling this defensive signals there.
Yeah, he's done a great job with the defensive line. The defensive coordinator for Bob Davies, who stayed on the staff.
His son plays at Iowa.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Big Ten. From the shotgun, Bunnell. Rolling and directing traffic, got it away. Deep down the field and out of bounds. Intended for Whitthorne. Defended by Mike Richardson. Pass over the boundary line.
You know, the way Carl Bunnell has played, though, you think he's going to have to be their quarterback next week. He did provide a spark. I mean, only 3 points scored for. There wasn't a lot of spark in the Washington Husky offense. But
Justin Hoskins.
Washington travels to Stanford next week.
Stanford will be in here in a few weeks.
Yep. Douglas will punt to the freshman Justin Hoskins. Hits short and takes a lateral bounce. And Hoskins claps his hands, didn't get a chance to return it. Down by James Sims. We'll take a break with 4:24 left on the clock. To rack up their 3rd consecutive victory after an opening game loss. And we predict to crack the top 25 this week. Jeff Jenkins with a carry for Notre Dame.
If you rated them just on their defense, he'd be in the top 10.
Defense has been very impressive, and the offense starting to show some diversity and efficiency, and they have 2 straight home games to try to polish that. Purdue and Stanford, then they'll beat Navy at the Meadowlands.
And get ready for the option.
And then BC back here.
Always a good rivalry.
So from the gloom and doom of The days after the BYU loss, things have turned around in dramatic fashion for the Irish and their fans.
And you know, what a lift of confidence for this team. You know, it's hard to play the game without a lot of confidence, but you see it growing. You see it in the eyes, the way they carry themselves. Certainly the play of Brady Quinn. We talked about the defense had the swagger's back from 2002. So this could be an interesting season for the Fighting Irish. They have some tough road games later in the year. They have to go to Tennessee and to USC.
Jeff Jenkins got that last carry. And it's a first down for the Irish. And the clock down to 3:20.
This is important playing time for Pat Dillingham. Because after Brady Quinn, he's the only guy that's had any experience playing quarterback.
It is Dillingham at quarterback for the Irish after Walke had a brief turn. Hoskins gets the carry, stopped by Hemphill. It's going to be a long ride back to Seattle, though, for the Huskies, who travel to Stanford next week. And then San Jose State and Oregon State on the shores of Lake Washington, and then at USC.
Okay, one of the great venues to watch a football game is at the University of Washington. Right off Lake Washington there, just beautiful spot.
First time since 1969 that they have begun 0-3, and that was not a good season for them, as they won only once in 10 trials. A good young team, though. Lots of promising young players on this Washington team, which has, as you know, great Pac-10 tradition. Justin Hoskins.
Well, the coaches are going to want to tell him to make sure you stay in bounds, Justin. But Justin's got some spark, I think. And, you know, you mentioned him clapping hands when the ball. He didn't get the chance to handle that punt a few minutes ago. This is the guy that wants the ball in his hands. And I think great running backs do. They want the spotlight, they want the ball, they want the pressure. And from what we have been told, Justin Hoskins is going to be a very good player. I thought at the beginning of the season, Tom, you know, where are the 20 and 30 and 40-yard plays going to come from in this team? What players are going to be the spark? And, you know, they have 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah. Travis Thomas. And time now for our Xerox Unexpected Play of the Game.
Well, is that bootleg? A terrific play-action fake from Brady Quinn to Fasano, the tight end, gets in the end zone. Nicely executed play.
Our Xerox Unexpected Play of the Game, brought to you by the document company Xerox, helping your company grow in unexpected ways. Travis Thomas again. So Patty did get a second chance to prove he could hold on to the football.
And he has 3 straight times. Well, Notre Dame's defense, Tom, forced 5 fumbles. They recovered 4 of them. They also had an interception.
And it's been a long time since the Huskies have been kept from the end zone. And this will be the 3rd straight win for Notre Dame. Here's one you'll like, Pat. They have had at least one 3-game winning streak now in 41 consecutive seasons, dating back to Ara Parsegian in 1964, his first year as the head coach.
Ara went 9-1 that first season. He didn't play in bowl games in those days.
Jenkins tackled by Hemphill. And that was the 4th down play. No, that was the 3rd down play. It's now 4th down.
Bringing in backup punters now. You know,
Jeffrey Price.
You know, you've had a good day when your second-team punter's in.
Sophomore from Hurst, Texas, Jeffrey Price. Flags down. The clock shows 24 seconds.
You know, Tom, next week will be a good test. But you think about the Irish wins, as good as they've been. You know, they really haven't played a veteran quarterback. You know, BYU's starting quarterback got hurt. You know, Michigan had a freshman. Michigan State kind of changed quarterbacks during the middle of the game. So next week is going to be an interesting test for the Irish.
Correction, the timeout is charged to the University of Washington, number 2.
You saw the look on Tyrone Willingham's face when the official announced that Notre Dame had called a timeout. And it was incorrect. It was Washington that had whistled for the timeout. It's 4th down. Well, from the Washington standpoint, Pat, what do the Huskies have to build on here?
Well, Tom, I'd like to tell you there's a lot of things to build on, but I don't see a lot. I mean, Carl Bunnell gave him a spark in the second half, but this is not a good addition to the Washington Husky team. This is a great program. Don James and Jim Owens and Jim Lambright, for years and years, fielded some really good teams. They're just very, very young. And I think Keith Gilbertson, who's a good coach, a very good coach, he's just going to have to suffer some bumps and bruises this year as he brings these young players along. It's a tough Pac-10 schedule, a tough Pac-10 this year for him.
And now Price for his first punt. And Russo calls for a fair catch. Makes it at about the 6-yard line. Well, the Irish have not surrendered a touchdown today, only a field goal. The last time they held an opponent without a touchdown was Rutgers in 2002 when they won 42-0.
Here's the
smile. Huh?
Yeah. He seems to be enjoying it more.
It does seem to us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Here are a couple of today's heroes. Justin Tuck, of course, playing the run game particularly well, and Bob Morton had a real good day at offensive guard.
Hand off to Rankin. And that should be the final play. Big day for Tyrone Willingham and the Irish as they win their 3rd in a row. And a tough trip for Keith Gilbertson, the Washington coach. The Irish dominate the game from the outset. Both sides of the football, offense and defense, the special teams as well. And a resounding victory over the Washington Huskies. They run their record to 3-1 on the season as Washington falls to 0-3. So the Fighting Irish will take a 3-game winning streak onto the field next week here against Purdue, and we'll have the broadcast for you on NBC. Let's go to Lewis.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Well, Coach, at least a small smile of relief as your quarterback Quinn connects 4 touchdowns in the first half of the game.
That was an impressive start for us. That's really what we've been looking forward to, is really getting off in the first quarter. Yet it still took us just a little while to get going, but it was really nice to see that kind of productivity in the first quarter and the first half.
And what about your defense that holds Washington to just a field goal throughout the entire game?
Well, it's a pretty good effort by our guys. Our defense has been probably the most solid element of our football team, and they continue that today with only giving up 3 points. Is pretty good.
Now, if there's one thing I imagine you'll have to talk to them about this week, it'll be what happened in the 3rd quarter as you talk to us this week about how you finished games. Any idea what happened there? Quinn not able to really get things going offensively?
Well, no, it's really kind of simple. We lost that edge. We lost that focus that you have to have. And when you do that, your execution just falls off.
And here's your quarterback, Brady Quinn, standing in the wings. And Brady, congratulations. Your coach telling him great job. And take me back to the first half as things just seem to be happening for you as you connected on after touchdown after touchdown.
You know, really the offense kind of got in the flow. We had everything working for us, the passing game, the run game, and we really got in sync, and just, big play after big play was happening for us.
Can you describe the change in confidence that you guys must have as the offense has really began to take off so different than it was a year ago?
Obviously, we have a lot more confidence in our offense, and I think our defense has a lot more faith in us, too. When we get on the field, we're going to make big things happen.
And as the band continues to play on, what will you think about this week as you get ready for Purdue? Things got a little stingy for you in the 3rd quarter there.
Yeah, obviously Purdue's a good team. Things are going to be pretty tough, this week as far as going through the practice and whatnot. So we got a tough game ahead of us. We got a lot of preparing to do.
And also, what will you say to your defense quickly about the game they played here?
Obviously, anytime you can hold a team, without a touchdown an entire game is unbelievable, especially when they got down in the red zone. So they've been playing big for us all year.
All right, Brady, congratulations. Thanks. Tom?
All right, Lewis, impressive as Lewis fought his way through the victory march playing. It was an impressive afternoon for the Irish. For Ty Willingham, his first victory in his 6 tries against Washington. He had lost all 5 outings as Stanford coach. And Notre Dame remains the dominant team in this series, having beaten Washington in all 5 meetings.
And now we can say Notre Dame is absolutely a balanced football team. They can beat you on defense, and they can beat you on offense, and that makes a very good football team.
So for Pat Hayden and Lewis Johnson, Tom Hammond sending you to Jimmy Roberts in our New York studio.